Good morning, dear friend. As the first light of dawn gently pierces through the veil of night, the world awakens in soft silence. There is something sacred about this hour, the hush before the day unfolds, the stillness that cradles the soul before the noise begins. It is in this quiet moment, before the demands of the day pull us in every direction, that we are invited to pause and breathe, not just with our lungs, but with our hearts. You are here now, and that alone is a miracle worth honoring. Perhaps you arrived carrying something heavy today. Maybe your sleep was restless, or your heart is burdened with thoughts too loud to silence. I want to tell you a story. It is not about someone famous or extraordinary. Just a person like you. She woke up one morning and sat by her window before sunrise. Tears welled in her eyes, not because of a specific tragedy, but from the quiet ache of feeling lost. Her marriage had grown cold. Her career no longer fulfilled her. A diagnosis loomed. And though she smiled for the world, her soul whispered something she could no longer ignore. I do not know how to move forward. She did not want answers anymore. She wanted peace. She was not looking for explanations. She needed presence. And so she did something simple, but profound. She whispered a prayer, not perfect words, not eloquent phrases, just a raw, trembling offering from the depths of her pain. That morning did not change her circumstances, but something shifted. Not outside, but within. A thread of strength began to weave its way through her weakness. She had touched something eternal, and from that point, she was not alone. Maybe her story feels familiar. Maybe you have been walking through your own fog, grief that lingers too long, fear that steals your breath, decisions that weigh you down, or simply a sense that something deep inside you is longing for more. The truth is, we all reach moments when we wonder if God is still leading, if the silence means He is absent, if the delay means we have been forgotten. But hear this truth: God is never absent. He is never indifferent. And the silence does not mean He is still. He is closer than your breath, nearer than your thoughts, working in ways far beyond what your eyes can see. His love is not based on how strong your faith is today. It is anchored in who He is, unchanging, faithful, and infinitely present. That is why you are here, not by accident, not because you stumbled upon these words, but because your soul is being drawn gently, yet firmly into a deeper place, a place of conversation, a place where your wounds can be heard and your hopes can be rekindled, a place where prayer is not a ritual, but a relationship, not a routine, but a refuge. This is not the kind of prayer that demands polished words. This is the kind that begins in the raw places of your heart and unfolds with each breath. It is a journey, one of surrender, trust, and transformation. And it begins right now, in this sacred hour of morning, when the world is still hushed and heaven seems just a little closer. So take this moment to let your guard down. You do not have to have it all figured out. You do not need to be strong. You just need to be willing. Willing to open your heart. Willing to speak honestly. Willing to listen deeply. This is your invitation not just to pray, but to encounter, not just to ask, but to align. Let us begin this sacred conversation together. The day is dawning, and so is something new within you. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning, as the quiet stillness of dawn surrounds me, I come before you with a heart that is weary, a soul that feels heavy, and questions I have carried longer than I can remember. There is no grand speech within me today, no polished prayer to present, only the ache of being lost in the wilderness of my own thoughts and fears. I do not pretend to understand why certain things have unfolded the way they have. I do not have answers for the pain that lingers in quiet corners or the heaviness that sits in my chest like a silent weight. But I do know this: I am reaching for you now, because deep down, I believe you are still near, even when I cannot feel it. I do not come to perform. I come because I am exhausted. I come because I have run in every other direction and found no peace. I come because my soul remembers something my mind has tried to forget: that you are the only one who truly sees. You see beyond what I say out loud. You see behind the mask I wear to get through the day. You see the small moments when I smile for others and then fall apart in private. You see the silent prayers I whispered into pillows soaked with tears. You see the fight to stay hopeful when my heart feels numb. You see me. There is a strange kind of comfort in being fully seen. It strips away the pressure to be strong. It makes room for honesty. And so I will not pretend today. I will tell you plainly that I am tired of wandering, tired of trying to carry what was never mine to bear alone. I am tired of smiling while I feel like I am unraveling inside. I do not even know exactly what I need. I just know I need you. Not answers. Not solutions. Just you. Your presence. Your nearness. Your eyes that never turn away from me, even when I feel unworthy to be seen. I feel like I am in a wilderness place. Everything around me feels unclear. Every step forward feels uncertain. I do not know which direction to take, and the silence around me is louder than has ever been. But even now, somewhere deep within, I hear the faintest whisper that tells me I am not abandoned. I may feel lost, but I am not alone. I may not know the way, but you do. And so, even in this first breath of prayer, I choose to believe that you are here with me, not far away, not waiting for me to have it together, but here, now, in this moment. I do not ask you to remove all my struggles at once. I ask you to sit with me in them. Teach me how to be still without giving in to despair. Teach me how to breathe when anxiety presses in. Teach me how to trust that you are guiding me, even when the path is covered in shadow. If all I can do today is take one step, let it be in the direction of you. If all I can do is whisper your name, let it be enough to draw me closer to your heart. Sometimes I wonder if you are still leading me, when doors close, when people leave, when dreams feel delayed or forgotten. I wonder if maybe I missed something, if I made the wrong turn, if I am too broken to be used. But your word tells me that you're the God who goes before me, the one who makes a way in the wilderness, the one who never sleeps or forgets. So if that is true, then even in this confusion, you are working. Even in this you are holding me. Even in the silence, You are speaking something deeper than words. I bring you everything today, not just the things I think are appropriate for prayer, but all of it. The questions, the fears, the guilt I do not talk about, the regrets I cannot shake, the longings I barely admit to myself. I bring it all because I believe that nothing is too messy for you. Nothing is too broken. Nothing is too far gone. You are the God who draws near to the shattered. You are the healer of wounds that run silent and deep. You are the shepherd who comes to find the one who wandered away. So I offer this moment as the beginning of something new. Not a solution to every problem, but a turning of my face toward you again, a quiet surrender, a whispered trust, a willingness to let go of needing to have it all figured out. If all I can do is open my hands, then I open them now. If all I can offer is my breath, then let it be a breath turned toward heaven. I do not want to run anymore. I want to be still and let you find me again. I do not know where this path will lead, but I believe you do. I do not know how long it will take, but I believe you are not in a hurry. You walk at the pace of grace, not pressure. You are not rushing me toward perfection. You are walking with me through process. Through pain, through pruning, through rediscovery. You are more patient than I am, more kind than I expect, more faithful than I deserve. So I ask you to meet me in this moment. Not with thunder or lightning, not with noise, but with peace. That deep, holy, inexplicable peace that does not erase the storm, but calms the soul within it. Let me feel that peace in the depths of who I am. Let it wrap around me like a blanket when the wind howls. Let it remind me that I am not forgotten, that I am not invisible, that I am not beyond reach. This is not just another morning. This is holy ground. Not because I have done anything special, but because you have met me here, in the wilderness, in the weariness, in the wandering. You came close. You are here now, and that is enough for me to begin again. Lord, you know how deeply I long to understand. How often I sit in silence, trying to piece together the why, the how, the when. Even now, after offering up all that I am to you, I find myself still holding tightly to the invisible thread of control. I want to trust fully, but there is a part of me that keeps reaching for a map, a sign, a promise I can see, a clear direction I can grasp. But you are not asking me to understand. You are asking me to follow. It is hard, God, to move when I do not see the road, to release what feels familiar, even if it no longer brings life, to say yes when I have no idea what that yes will require. There is a quiet fear that echoes within me, whispering that surrender means losing myself completely. But what I am beginning to realize is that holding on too tightly has already been draining me, carrying every question, every outcome, every possibility has become a weight I cannot keep bearing. And maybe letting go is not falling apart, it is falling into you. You are not a distant planner handing me a script and waiting for me to memorize my lines. You are a living, present guide walking with me in real time. Once in a while, not only when I feel worthy, but now, every second, every breath, even when I hesitate, even when I resist, even when I try to bargain with the unknown. You stay, you wait, and you whisper again, gently and without pressure. Trust me. So today, I am trying, not because I feel brave, but because I have reached the end of trying to figure it out on my own. I lay down my demands to know what happens next. I lay down the lie that I have to be certain before I take the next step. I lay down the illusion that safety comes from clarity. Maybe safety is not found in knowing the plan. Maybe it is found in knowing the one who holds the plan. God, if you are the light to my path, then I do not need the whole highway illuminated. I just need the glow that covers the next few inches. The lamp that burns low but steady at my feet. Help me walk by that light, step by step, breath by breath, even if the path curves where I did not expect. Even if it leads me through valleys I would not have chosen. If you are there, then I will follow. And yet I still feel the trembling inside. The small voice that asks, what if I get it wrong? What if I miss it? What if I choose the wrong door? But you do not operate through fear. You do not punish honest hearts that are trying to follow you. You are not hiding your will like a secret code to be cracked. You are a father who speaks in love, not riddles. So I release the fear of missing it. I release the fear of failing you. If my heart is set on you, then you will gently redirect me when I drift. You will hold me steady when I falter. You will make straight the path beneath my feet, even when I cannot see it being built. Teach me, Lord, how to live open, how to release my grip on the blueprint I have built in my mind, the timelines I created, the images of how life was supposed to look by now. I surrender the pressure I put on myself to arrive somewhere specific by a certain age or season. I surrender the shame I feel for not being further along, and I open my hands instead to possibility, to redirection, to purpose that may not look impressive, but is wholly just the same. You are not in a hurry, so why am I? You are not measuring me by accomplishments or pace. You are forming something eternal within me, even when the surface feels still. Remind me that surrender is not resignation. It is permission. It is saying yes to being led instead of always needing to lead. It is laying down the burden of constant direction and stepping into the freedom of divine trust. Somewhere deep inside, I know you are writing a story with my life that I cannot yet read. I see only one page at a time. Sometimes I want to flip ahead to see how the chapters unfold. But you are the author, and I am learning to trust the pen in your hand more than the fear in my heart. You see the ending already, and if you see it, then I will rest in the mystery of what is still hidden. Even now, there is a quiet strength rising, not loud or flashy, just steady, just real, a whisper that says, you do not have to know everything. You just have to know me, and in this moment, that is enough. Enough to let go of what I thought I needed. Enough to release the grip I did not realize I was holding. Enough to say yes again, even if my voice shakes. So walk with me into this new day, into this uncharted morning, into this quiet space of not knowing and yet being completely known. If I reach for the old habits of control again, gently remind me. If I forget, kindly lead me back. I want to live in surrender not just once, but again and again, moment by moment. I want to trust your heart, even when I cannot trace your hand. Let my feet be light today, unburdened by the weight of needing every answer. Let my hands remain open, willing to release what no longer serves the journey. Let my spirit lean into yours, finding in the stillness what I could never find in striving. I do not ask for a map anymore. I ask for the courage to follow the sound of your steps. And if at any moment I start to fear the unknown again, remind me that I am not walking into it alone. I am walking with you, the one who formed the stars, who numbers my hairs, who sees the end from the beginning and still says, "Come with me." That is enough. That is everything. And so I choose again to surrender, not with fear, but with faith, not with reluctance, but with trust, not because I see clearly, but because you do, God. Even as I continue to lay down the weight of needing control, there is something stirring within me. It is not a loud breakthrough or a sudden shift, but a quiet remembering, a return to moments I once tried to forget or simply overlooked. I think back to places where I thought you were absent, where I felt abandoned, where my prayers felt unanswered, and yet, now with clearer eyes, I can trace your fingerprints on the very things I once thought were empty. There were days when I whispered to you in the dark, not sure if you heard. There were moments when I was at the edge of something too heavy to carry. And somehow, I made it through. I did not always recognize it then, but I see it now. You were there, in the unexpected comfort of a stranger, in the strength that came when I had none left, in the silence that taught me how to listen deeper than noise. You were there when the job fell through, and I felt like a failure. You were there when the door slammed shut, and I stood staring at it in disbelief. What I saw as rejection, you were shaping into redirection. What I thought was punishment, you were quietly using to protect me. And so today, Lord, I choose to remember, not just with my mind, but with my spirit. I bring to the surface those fragments of your faithfulness, the ones I had buried under the rubble of disappointment and time. I recall the peace that came when it should not have, the provision that arrived just in time, the moment I almost gave up but did not because I was strong, because you were holding me together when I did not know how to hold myself. You are the God who sees me, not just the version of me I present to others, but the hidden parts, the quiet battles, the private pain. You saw me when I was curled on the bathroom floor, unsure how to breathe through grief. You saw me when I smiled through tears in a crowded room. You saw the anger I tried to hide, the confusion I was too ashamed to voice, the hope that flickered faintly even when I claimed I had none left. And in all of it, you never turned away. You stayed, steady, silent at times, but never absent. It humbles me. Father, to think that I have often doubted your presence, when it was my own perspective that was clouded. I thought I had been overlooked, when really, I was being cradled. I thought you had forgotten, when you were orchestrating things too intricate for me to see at the time. I was so focused on the pain that I missed the purpose beginning to form beneath it. And now, as I look back, I see how the breaking was not the end. It was the beginning of something holy being reshaped inside me. Help me hold on to these memories, Lord, not as sentimental trophies, but as anchors for my faith. Let them remind me that if you were faithful then, you are faithful now. You have not changed. The same God who walked me through those storms is the God who walks with me into this morning. The same arms that carried me through silence and sorrow are still open, still reaching, still steady. You do not change with seasons. You are not swayed by my emotions. Your love is not fragile, and your presence does not depend on my ability to feel it. You are constant. So when doubts come creeping back in, as they often do, remind me of what is already true. Remind me of how far you have brought me, not just in the tangible things I can name, but in the quiet growth within. I am not who I used to be, not because of anything I earned, but because of your grace that never gave up on me, because of your kindness that met me in the wilderness, because of your mercy that never ran out. There were chapters in my life that I thought would be the end of me, but they were not. And the only reason they were not is because you were there in the pages I could not write myself. And now, even when I cannot see what is ahead, I can look behind and remember that I did not walk through fire alone. I did not survive the waves by my own strength. You were there every time, and that truth becomes my courage today. Let my memory become a well I draw from when my faith feels dry. Let the echoes of past deliverance awaken a new trust in what you are doing now. Let me recall how you provided when I had nothing. Let me remember the way you comforted when words failed. Let me rest in the truth that you are not finished writing my story. And if I am still breathing, then purpose still remains. I do not need you to prove yourself again. I only need eyes to see that you already have, time and time again. So today, I will choose not to dwell on everything that is still uncertain. I will choose to dwell on what I know is real. You, your character, your promises, your presence. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so, I enter this day not with full answers, but with full assurance that you see me still. You see where I am hesitant to believe again. You see where I struggle to surrender. You see the little places where fear still grips my heart. And you meet me in each of them, not with judgment, not with shame, but with a hand that reaches through the fog, reminding me I am never out of your sight. I will walk with that truth today. I will breathe with that truth today. And when doubts whisper, I will answer them with remembrance. I will tell my heart the stories of your faithfulness. I will speak to my soul the way you have shown up. And even if I find myself in another valley soon, I will trust that you will be there too, as you always have been. Seeing me, knowing me, loving me still. Father, now that I have remembered how you have seen me through, now that I have rested in the truth of your past faithfulness, I find myself standing face to face with the cost, what you are asking me to do next. Trust is beautiful in theory, but today it asks for more than words. It asks for obedience. And that word feels heavier than I expected. It does not feel like a poetic promise. It feels like a cross. There are places within me that want to follow you fully, but also quietly wish the path would not require so much. It is not that I want to walk away. It is that I am afraid of what I might have to walk away from. Some things I have grown attached to. Some dreams I have nurtured for years. Some relationships that feel like part of my identity. And still, I hear you calling, not with force, not with threats, but with a love so steady that challenges me to come higher, even if higher costs something sacred. You are not asking for blind compliance. You are asking for willing surrender. You do not force my steps. You wait for my trust. And that is what makes it harder sometimes. Because I know you could make it all fall into place. You could show me the ending. You could let me hold on to what feels safe while still guiding me forward. But you do not. You ask me to choose between comfort and calling, between familiarity and faith. Lord, this part is not easy. This is where faith becomes more than poetic prayer. This is where I must decide if I want to be changed or just comforted. I know the answer I am supposed to give, but I want to be honest about the ache underneath that answer. I want to tell you that it hurts to even consider letting go. Not because I do not love you, but because my heart has wrapped itself around things that you are now gently asking me to place back in your hands. I think about the moments when you asked others to obey without seeing the outcome. I think of Abraham leaving everything familiar to follow a promise without a map. I think of Peter stepping out of a boat in the middle of a storm just to be closer to you. I think of Mary saying yes to a divine assignment that cost her reputation, comfort, and control. None of them saw the full picture, but all of them were invited into something eternal, and all of them had to choose obedience over understanding. So now, I sit here, caught between my human instinct to hold on and my deep longing to follow you wherever you lead. And I ask for courage, not the kind that roars, but the kind that whispers yes when everything inside trembles. I do not want to pretend that this is easy. It is not. But I also do not want to stay stuck in a version of life that I was never meant to settle for. I do not want to miss the fullness of what you have for me, because I was too afraid to release what is no longer mine to carry. Help me, God, to trust that if you are asking me to let go, it is not to harm me, but to heal me, not to deprive me, but to make room for something greater. Help me to believe that what I give up in obedience cannot compare to what I gain in surrender. Help me to see that what feels like loss right now may actually be your mercy, removing what would only delay or distract from what you are building. This is not about punishment. This is about preparation. And though it feels like a death, in some ways the dying of an old identity, the ending of a long-held plan, I believe you are the God of resurrection. That on the other side of every surrender is a new beginning I cannot yet imagine. And even if that new beginning is quiet, small and slow, it will be filled with your presence. That alone makes it worth everything. So I place these pieces before you. The ones I thought were essential. The ones I believed I could not live without. The ones I begged you to let me keep. I place them here not because I am strong, but because I am loved. I trust that you know what to do with what I release. I trust that nothing I lay down in obedience will be wasted. You redeem all things. You restore what is broken. You replace what is surrendered with something better. Something deeper. Something eternal. Let my yes today echo louder than my fears. Let my obedience be my offering, not because I understand everything, but because I know you are worthy of everything. Let my willingness to follow become the soil where faith grows stronger, deeper, and more unshakable. I am not obeying because I have figured it all out. I am obeying because I want to be close to you. And that desire is beginning to matter more than anything else. Even if others do not understand, even if the path is lonely for a while, even if I grieve what I leave behind, let the sound of your voice be the loudest thing in my life. Let it call me forward. Let it calm my anxious mind. Let it become my anchor in this moment of letting go. I will not look back with regret. I will not cling to what you are calling me to release. I will not stay in places where your grace has lifted. I will not allow comfort to become a cage. If you are leading, I will follow. And if the following costs me more than I thought I could pay, then give me grace to remember that obedience is never without reward, not always in ways the world celebrates, but in the quiet confidence of walking in step with you. This is not a performance. This is not for applause. This is not about being noticed by others. This is about choosing you again and again, even when it costs me what I once thought I needed. It is about living in the freedom of knowing I am exactly where you want me to be, even when the road is narrow, even when the nights are long, even when the next step feels like a leap. Thank you for being patient with me, for not demanding perfection, but simply inviting me deeper, for reminding me that obedience is not about never wavering, but about choosing to move forward even when my hands are shaking. I choose to follow you now, not with all the answers, but with all my heart, Lord. Even as I choose obedience, even as I lay down what I cannot carry and step into the unknown with trembling faith, I realize something deeper. The hardest part is not always the surrender itself. Sometimes it is what follows. The silence, the waiting, the space between the moment I say yes and the moment when your promise becomes real before my eyes. This in-between place tests me more than I ever expected. Not because I doubt you, but because I do not yet see how your word will unfold. You know, God, how my heart wants to believe without hesitation. You know how I try to hold tightly to hope. But there are moments, honest moments, when everything around me feels unchanged. And I wonder if anything is moving at all. I have let go. I have obeyed. And still, some doors remain closed. Some prayers remain unanswered. Some situations feel suspended in time, untouched by breakthrough or clarity. And I find myself asking, not with anger, but with aching, What now? This is where I am learning that faith is not proven in the fire of crisis alone, but in the quiet stretch of time when nothing seems to happen, when days pass without visible progress, when nights grow long with questions that do not resolve, when my hands are still empty, though my heart remains open. You are not slow to respond. You are sovereign in timing, but it is here, in this unseen place, that my soul grows restless. Father, I need you to meet me here not with instant answers, but with sustaining presence. Remind me that your promises are not fragile. They are not dependent on my performance. They are not forgotten in the chaos. You do not speak and then abandon. You do not stir hope only to leave it hanging. If you said it, you will complete it. If you planted it, you will bring it to life in your time. Still, waiting feels like a kind of wilderness, not the dramatic kind filled with storms and giants, but the quiet kind where shadows stretch long and stillness fills the air. I wake up with expectation and abed with the same unanswered longing. I press on, but some days feel like wandering in circles. And yet, maybe this space is not empty at all. Maybe it is holy. Maybe you are forming things beneath the surface that I cannot yet perceive. Maybe this delay is not denial, it is development. You are never idle, even when I cannot see movement. Just as the seed breaks underground before it ever reaches the light, you are breaking through layers in me that need to be prepared before the promise can take root. I want the outcome, but you want transformation. I ask for signs, but you offer silence that shapes trust. You are not withholding. You are weaving a tapestry I will only understand in hindsight. God, help me to live well in the meantime, not just survive it, but meet you in it. Let me not waste this waiting. Let me worship through it. Let me become someone new in this in-between place. Someone who trusts you not only for what is coming, but for who you are now. Let me find beauty in what has not yet bloomed. Let me rest in the assurance that your word never returns void. I do not need the whole picture. I only need the confidence that you are still writing. You have not walked away from this story. You are not finished. Even when I cannot trace your hand, I trust your heart. That trust is fragile some days, but it is real. It is the quiet decision I make every morning when I wake up still waiting, still hoping, still choosing to believe you are good. Remind me of those who waited well, of Noah, who built for years without rain, of Joseph, who dreamed but was forgotten, of Hannah, who wept for what had not yet arrived. Their lives did not pause in the waiting. They were shaped by it. You were never late in their stories, and you will not be late in mine. Let their patience become my pattern. Let their faith become my fuel. Sometimes I imagine what it will feel like when the promise comes to pass. I imagine the relief, the joy, the clarity. But more than that, I imagine the closeness I will feel knowing that you were with me all along, even when I could not feel it. That is the real treasure, not just the answer, but the intimacy that was forged in the silence, the friendship that formed when I had nothing to offer but faith, the nearness that grew in the stillness. So I hold to you, not because I have seen the outcome, because I know you cannot lie. If you promise to lead, then you will. If you promise to restore, then you will. If you promise to be near, then you already are. Let that be enough to calm my anxious mind. Let that be enough to steady my wandering heart. I do not need you to speed up. I need you to strengthen me. Give me eyes that look for your presence, not just for results. Give me ears that hear your whisper even when the world is loud. Give me a spirit that stays soft and expectant, even when discouragement tries to creep in. I do not want to numb myself while I wait. I want to stay awake to wonder, to the beauty of becoming, to the hope that still burns, even on quiet days. You are the God who walks with me, not just ahead of me. You are the God who sees the unseen, who honors faith that persists through silence, who blesses those who do not give up, even when they cannot yet see what they believed for. So here I am again, choosing to believe without evidence, choosing to praise without proof, choosing to trust that the promise is still alive, still moving, still in your hands. This is not the end of the story. This is the middle. And in this middle space, I will find you. I will hold on, not because I feel strong, but because you are strong. I will stay planted in hope, even when nothing has bloomed yet. I will breathe deeply, walk gently, and let this waiting teach me what answers never could. You are not just preparing a promise. You are preparing me, and that is worth every moment in the space between. Father, in the stillness of this early hour, as the sky slowly brightens and the world begins to wake, I find myself listening, not just with my ears, but with my soul. After days, weeks, even seasons of waiting without clear answers, I realize now that perhaps I have been searching in the wrong places. Not wrong because they were bad, but because they were loud. I have been looking for you in the dramatic, in the obvious, in the things that shout, but you often choose to speak in a whisper, a voice quiet enough to be missed unless I am truly still. There has been so much noise, Lord, not just around me, but within me. Thoughts racing like waves crashing against the shore, expectations piled high, fears speaking with authority they were never meant to have, and then the opinions of others, so many voices, all claiming to know what I should do, where I should go, who I should become. I have chased clarity in conversations, in articles, in scrolling through pieces of other people's lives, hoping I would find some clue for my own. But none of it has satisfied. None of it has brought the peace I long for. Because your voice, God, does not compete with chaos. You do not shout to be heard over everything else. You wait until I am quiet enough to notice, until I choose to slow down, to hush the noise inside, to be present. I am learning that silence is not empty, it is sacred. It is the place where your voice begins to rise, not with thunder, not with spectacle, but with truth so deep it cannot be ignored. A truth that reaches where no other sound can go. So I quiet myself now. I do not come with demands. I do not ask for a flood of words. I ask for ears that are willing to hear what is real. I ask for a heart soft enough to be shaped by the sound of your breath. If you speak in stillness, then let my stillness become a sanctuary. If you speak in peace, then let my mind become a field where peace can grow. I will not rush this moment. I will not try to fill it with my own noise. I will simply sit here and wait for you to speak. There is something humbling about realizing how often I have missed you, not because you were far, but because I was distracted. I have mistaken silence for absence, when in reality, it was an invitation to go deeper, to stop performing, to stop grasping, to simply be, to lean into a voice that is steady, sure, and unlike any other, a voice that calls me by name without accusation, that reminds me who I am without comparison, that speaks direction without pressure. Lord, train me to recognize that voice, not just in quiet mornings like this, but in the middle of everyday moments, in the grocery store line, in the hum of a car engine, in laughter and in tears. Let me become so familiar with the sound of your spirit that all other noise begins to fade in comparison. Let me be someone who knows the difference between good advice and divine instruction, between external approval and inner peace. I have spent so much time asking you to speak, when really, you have never stopped. The problem is not your silence, it is my distraction. So teach me, again, how to be still, not just on the outside, but inside, still in my spirit, still in my thinking, still in my striving. Let the storm within me settle enough that your whisper can be heard clearly. Let every thought that tries to rise above your truth be quieted by the authority of your presence. There is a longing in me to hear you, not just for the sake of direction, but for connection. I do not want your voice only to know what to do. I want it because it brings me home, because it reminds me that I am not alone, that I am known and loved and led, even when I cannot see the whole picture, even when I feel uncertain, even when I am still waiting. Your voice is not just instruction, it is intimacy. It does not just tell me where to go. It reminds me who I belong to. So let me start here, Lord, with a listening heart, with a soul that is open, not just to what I want to hear, but to whatever you are truly saying. Even if it challenges me, even if it redirects me, even if it is quieter than I expected, I do not want noise. I want truth. I want the kind of whisper that echoes longer than the loudest shout. The kind that changes something deep within, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime. There is a sacredness in this kind of listening. It is not passive. It is not weak. It is a kind of strength that says, I will not let the noise of the world drown out the whisper of heaven. It is a defiant peace, a holy resistance to chaos, a decision to believe that what you say matters more than anything else I might hear today. And so, I tune my soul to the frequency of grace. I set my attention not on every possible outcome, but on your voice alone. Speak in the way you choose, whether through scripture that comes alive, or a nudge in my spirit I cannot explain, whether through the quiet unfolding of a sunrise, or the still conviction that rests gently on my heart. I will not demand that you speak in a certain way. I will simply prepare myself to listen, to receive, to respond. Let this become my new rhythm, not just in the early hours, but throughout the day. a rhythm of tuning in, of checking back, of aligning again and again with what is true and eternal. Let your whisper shape my responses. Let it guide my conversations. Let it guard my heart from reacting to every voice that comes my way. Let it become the compass I carry with me into every unknown. I know now that clarity does not always come in the form of a plan. Sometimes, it comes in the form of your presence, a presence that speaks even in the silence, that leads even when the road is dim, that assures me I am not lost, only being led differently than I expected. And so I will listen not once, but continually, because you are worth hearing, because your voice brings life, because there is no greater gift than to be led by the one who sees all, knows all, and loves me through it all. God, now that I have begun to hear you again, beneath the layers of noise, beneath the chaos I once thought was clarity, I find myself standing in a place that feels unfamiliar, not unsafe, not wrong, but undeniably quiet. You have not rushed in with a whirlwind of answers. You have not mapped out my path from beginning to end. Instead, you have placed a small light before me, a gentle glow at my feet, and you are asking me to walk forward not in leaps, not with urgency, but in steps. This, too, is faith, not the kind that moves mountains with bold declarations, but the kind that chooses to trust you when the path ahead is dimly lit, the kind that learns to take one step without knowing what comes after, the kind that finds peace in motion, even when motion is slow. I used to think trust looked like bold action, but now I see that it also looks like steady surrender, like walking with you even when I cannot see beyond the next few paces. Father, I have wasted so much energy trying to see the full picture. I have strained my eyes, demanded clarity, begged for a glimpse of what lies ahead. I thought I needed the full plan in order to move, but I understand now that you rarely show the whole path at once. You offer just enough for today, just enough light for this step. And that is not punishment, it is protection. It is intimacy. It is an invitation to walk not by sight, but by continual trust. So I release the pressure I have put on myself to have it all figured out. I release the fear that if I take a wrong step, I will miss everything you have planned. Because you are not just a destination, you are a companion. You are walking with me, and as long as I stay near to you, I will not get lost. As long as I keep listening, keep responding, keep yielding, you will guide me even through detours, even through the wilderness, even when I stumble. There is something sacred about this slower pace, something holy about moving gently, being mindful of each step. I do not want to outrun your timing. I do not want to rush into places you have not called me. I want to be someone who walks in rhythm with your spirit, not lagging behind in fear, not running ahead in impatience, but walking beside you in quiet trust. I know now that you are not interested in rushing me through life. You are interested in walking with me through every part of it. And so I pause in this moment, not to freeze, but to refocus. I look at the path beneath my feet, and I ask for the courage to take the next step, whatever it may be. Even if it looks small, even if it feels ordinary, even if no one else notices, because when it is guided by you, every step matters. Every moment is meaningful. There are parts of me that still want to jump ahead, parts that wonder how long this will take. But I am learning to quiet those voices, to remind myself that your timing is never late, that the slower the walk, the deeper the roots, that what is built with patience cannot be shaken by pressure. So I welcome this pace. I embrace the gentle rhythm of grace. I let go of the finish line and focus on faithfulness. Lord, help me to see progress through your eyes. Help me to value growth that is slow and deep rather than fast and shallow. Help me to find joy in this journey, not because it always feels exciting, but because it is forming something eternal in me. Teach me to celebrate each obedient step, no matter how small, because forward is forward, and faith is not measured in distance, but in surrender. As I walk with you, let my heart stay open. Let my eyes remain fixed not on outcomes, but on your presence beside me. Let my spirit be sensitive to your gentle nudges, to your quiet invitations to move. I do not want to be driven by fear or urgency. I want to be led by peace, and peace often whispers, "Go slowly, go wisely, go with me." I may not know what tomorrow holds, but today I have enough. I have breath. I have grace. I have a light that glows softly at my feet, reminding me that you are near, that you are not far ahead, waiting for me to catch up. You are here, beside me, offering companionship in every step. Let this awareness shape how I move. Let it slow my anxious thoughts. Let it shift my focus from what is next to what is now. If I spend every day trying to reach the next thing, I will miss the gift of your presence in this one. So I choose now, with my whole heart, to be present in this step, to trust that if I take it with you, it is enough. Remind me, God, that your path is not a race. It is a relationship. It is a daily unfolding, a gentle invitation to draw near, again and again, with no pressure to perform, only the call to follow. Let each footfall be a song of trust. Let each pause be a prayer. Let each moment of stillness be a sacred act of listening. Even when the road bends, even when the path disappears into fog, I will walk, because I know the one who leads me, because I believe that every step with you carries purpose, even when it feels quiet, even when it looks unremarkable. You are not building my life in leaps. You are building it in layers, moment by moment, step by step. So I keep walking, slowly, softly, boldly, because walking with you, even in mystery, is better than running ahead into clarity without you, because every step guided by your light, no matter how small, is a step toward something holy, toward something whole, toward you. Father, as I continue walking step by step with you, I begin to understand that not every step is about moving forward in the way I once imagined. Some steps look like waiting. Some look like standing still. Some look like staying exactly where I am. And while my heart longs for progress, for momentum, for the feeling of movement, you are showing me that sometimes the greatest act of faith is learning how to stay. This is not the kind of staying that comes from fear or hesitation. It is not the staying that avoids risk or hides from change. It is the staying that trusts you when you say wait. It is the staying that listens when you whisper not yet. It is the sacred kind of stillness that believes you are doing something beneath the surface, even when nothing around me looks different. And this kind of staying requires a grace I cannot find in myself. Only you can provide it. Lord, teach me how to rest without rushing. Teach me how to settle into seasons where nothing big is happening, but something deep is. Show me that the lack of outward change does not mean there is no movement. That stillness is not the absence of purpose, but often the very place where purpose is being rooted. You are not punishing me with pauses. You are preparing me with patience. I confess that I do not always know how to be still. I want to make things happen. I want to fix, build, improve, achieve. The world around me glorifies motion and rewards hustle. But you, God, are not impressed by my pace. You are not measuring my worth by how much I accomplish. You are far more concerned with who I am becoming. And sometimes, that becoming happens best when I stop striving and simply stay. Help me to release the guilt that tries to creep in when I feel unproductive. Remind me that rest is not laziness when it is directed by you. That waiting is not weakness when it is held in faith. That being still is not wasting time when it is guided by your hand. Let me stop apologizing for the pace you have set for me. Let me stop comparing my quiet season to someone else's visible progress. You know the exact rhythm my soul needs to flourish. There is something beautiful about learning how to linger in your presence. Not because I need something from you, but because I trust that you are enough. Let this season of staying draw me closer to you. Let it strip away the distractions that kept me busy but left me empty. Let it refine my vision so I can see what truly matters. Let it deepen my roots so that when storms come, I am not shaken. God, if you have called me to stay, then this place, this moment is holy ground. I do not want to rush past what you are doing here. I do not want to resent what you are trying to teach me. I do not want to sleepwalk through the stillness just because it feels uncomfortable. I want to be fully awake, fully present, fully surrendered. Even if the waiting is long, even if the silence stretches further than I hoped, even if others do not understand, because the truth is, you often do your greatest work in the unseen. Seeds break open in darkness. Foundations are laid in silence. Healing begins before it is felt. I do not need to see everything to believe something is happening. I do not need to feel movement to know you are working. You are always working, always present, always aware. And if you have asked me to remain, then it is because there is something sacred in this stillness. Let this be a time where I am rebuilt from the inside out, where my faith is no longer dependent on signs or speed, but on trust, where I learn to love you not for what you do, but for who you are, where I stop measuring my life by milestones and start measuring it by peace, peace that is not found in outcomes, but in obedience, peace that comes from knowing I am exactly where I am meant to be. There is grace in staying, grace to breathe, grace to reset, grace to let go of the pressure I carry. And I receive that grace now not because I have earned it, but because you freely give it. You give me permission to pause. You give me permission to not have it all together. You give me room to simply be, and to believe that even in this stillness, you are shaping something eternal in me. If I am honest, I still wonder how long this will last. I still find myself tempted to ask when, but instead of chasing answers, I choose to chase intimacy. Instead of demanding timelines, I choose to draw closer to your heart, because being close to you is better than rushing to something without you. Being near to you is more important than getting somewhere quickly. And if I can find you here, in this stillness, then this season is not a delay, it is a gift. So I will lean into the quiet. I will let go of the timelines I once held so tightly. I will stop asking if I am falling behind and start asking if I am drawing near. I will trust that when it is time to move again, you will make it clear. Until then, I will anchor myself in your peace. I will build altars of gratitude in this waiting. I will lift my eyes from the calendar and fix them on you. This is not about standing still out of fear. This is about staying out of faith. This is not about inaction. It is about intentional surrender. I am not giving up, I am holding on in a different way, a quieter way, a deeper way. And I believe that what you are doing in me now will sustain me for what is coming next. Thank you for not rushing me. Thank you for not shaming me when I grow restless. Thank you for being a God who is comfortable in the slow, who is present in the still, who sees purpose where I see pause. I want to learn from you. I want to walk with you, even if that means standing still for a little while longer. Because if you are here, then this moment matters. If you are here, then this season is not wasted. If you are here, then I am not just waiting, I am being transformed. Father, after learning how to stay, how to find peace in stillness, I am now coming face to face with something deeper. Not just the act of waiting, but the weight of delay. I can feel that you are near. I know you are not silent. I understand that this season of staying is purposeful, but there are days, honest days, when hearing not yet feels like a quiet ache in my chest, not because I do not trust you, but because my heart is still learning how to hold hope without holding the outcome. There is something about delay that tests a place inside me I did not know existed. It reveals the fragile places where I tied my faith to timing, where I trusted not just in your promise, but in how quickly I thought it would come. I expected doors to open by now. I expected prayers to be answered. I expected a shift, a sign, a breakthrough. But instead, you keep whispering, wait. And even though I know you are working, even though I believe you are good, it does not always stop the sting of delay. Lord, I bring you my disappointment, not to complain, but to be real. I bring you the parts of me that are growing tired of hoping without seeing. The corners of my heart that feel stretched thin from carrying expectation without resolution. The silent tension of trusting while nothing around me changes. I am not angry with you. I am just wary from standing in the in-between, from feeling like I am standing still while the world moves forward around me. But I also know this: you are not withholding to harm me. You are not delaying to punish me. You are protecting something I cannot yet see. You are aligning things beyond my vision. You are refining things within me that must be strengthened before the next chapter unfolds. This delay is not a denial, it is a divine pause with a purpose I may not understand yet. And though my flesh wants resolution, my spirit longs to align with your will more than with my own timelines. So help me, Father, to surrender to the sacredness of not yet. Teach me how to wait with open hands instead of clenched fists. Let this season deepen my faith rather than drain it. Let it remind me that you are not late. You are always on time. Even when I do not understand the clock you work by. Let the words "not yet" become a reminder that something is still being prepared, not something I have lost. I know there is a difference between human delay and holy timing. You are not slow as I understand slowness. You are precise. You are intentional. You are unfolding things with care. And when I rush ahead, I risk stepping outside of what you have ordained. So even when my heart aches for the promise, let my soul remain rooted in the truth that your timing is trustworthy. That when you say wait, it is never wasted time. I think of all the times in Scripture when you asked your people to wait. Abraham, waiting decades for a son. Joseph, forgotten in prison for years before the dream came true. David, anointed as king but not crowned until much later. And yet, every delay had a design. Every pause had a purpose. And not one of them was abandoned in the process. Neither am I. Give me the courage to believe that you are doing more than I can see. That while I wait, you are weaving redemption into the very fabric of what feels like silence. That while doors remain closed, you are preparing the perfect moment to open the one that leads to the place you have set apart for me. That while I feel like nothing is happening, something sacred is forming beneath the surface of my waiting. Remind me that this space is not empty, it is full of your presence. Let me be less focused on when the answer will come, and more focused on how deeply I can know you while I wait. Let me not waste this time wishing it away. Let me steward it well. Let it be a time of drawing near, of becoming strong in spirit, of learning how to stand without striving. There is beauty in a slow unfolding. There is strength being built when everything feels quiet. There is maturity growing when I choose to stay, even when my heart wants to run ahead. So I ask you for endurance, not just to survive the delay, but to embrace it, to walk through it with grace, to allow it to soften what needs softening and strengthen what has grown weary. Lord, if you are still saying not yet, then I will wait here with you. I will not rush what you are taking time to make holy. I will not force open doors you are still preparing. I will not try to script my own answers when you are writing something better than I could imagine. I will trust that the very delay I feel pressing against me may be the very thing that protects me from stepping into something before I am ready. And on the days when it feels too heavy, when hope starts to flicker, help me to return to the truth I have already seen. You have been faithful before. You have not failed me. You have carried me through seasons I thought I would not survive. And you will not stop now, even in delay. You are delivering something deeper than I asked for. Let me not despise the quiet. Let me not fear the stillness. Let me not resist the slow. Because if you are here, then even the waiting is holy. Even the long nights are not lost. Even the drawn-out prayers are heard and held. You do not forget. You do not misplace promises. You fulfill them in ways that leave no room for doubt, that it was you all along. So I remain here not because I am stuck, but because you have asked me to stay just a little longer. And if you are saying not yet, then I choose to believe that when the time comes, the wait will have been worth it. That what you bring will not only be right, but it will arrive right on time. And in the meantime, you are enough for me. Right here, in the pause, in the stretch, in the quiet in between. Father, as I remain here with you in the waiting, listening for the next breath of your will, I am beginning to look back with different eyes, not with regret or confusion, but with a new softness. There are doors I used to grieve over, paths I longed to walk that never opened, opportunities I prayed for that passed me by. I carried those unanswered prayers, quiet disappointments, tucking them away in hidden places where I did not have to admit how much they hurt. But now, in this place of stillness and surrender, I sense you gently bringing them back, not to wound me again, but to show me something I could not see before. You were protecting me. You knew what I did not. You saw what I could not. And though I could not understand it in the moment, now I am beginning to see that the doors that did not open were not rejections, they were redirections. They were shields. They were closed not because you were far away, but because you were closer than I realized, guarding me from stepping into something not meant for me. And I admit, it is humbling to know how many times I begged for what would have broken me, how often I pleaded for what would have drained the very life you were trying to cultivate in me. God, I bring you every memory that still carries a trace of disappointment. Every time I asked and heard silence. Every time I tried and the way was blocked. Every moment I stood in front of what I thought was a yes, only to watch it close slowly, painfully. Finally, I used to ask why. I used to question if I had done something wrong, if maybe I had not prayed enough or believed hard enough. But I see now that it was not about effort, it was about alignment. You were never withholding to punish me. You were holding back to preserve me. So now, I thank you for every closed door, not with bitterness, not as a way to minimize the pain, but with deep reverence, because those closed doors taught me how to trust your no just as much as your yes. They taught me that peace is not always found in getting what I want, but in being held by a God who knows what I need. They taught me that I do not need to understand everything to be safe in your will. Sometimes your no was the greatest kindness you could have given me. There were people I wanted to keep, roles I wanted to step into, dreams I wanted to chase, and when they fell apart, I felt like I was falling too. But you were there, not watching from a distance, but catching me in ways I did not even realize. You knew what I would have sacrificed, trying to make something work that was not meant to last. You saw the hidden costs I could never have calculated. And because you love me, you said no. I confess, Lord, that I have not always seen that no as love. Sometimes I have taken it personally. Sometimes I have let it define me. But today, I choose to release the weight of what never happened. I choose to let go of the timelines I held on to, the plans I clung to, the narratives I wrote in my head. I lay them all at your feet, and I ask you to teach me how to trust in the greater story you are writing. One where nothing is wasted. One where even the doors that did not open are woven into the beauty of what you are building in me. Let me not resent what you removed. Let me not chase after what you have already closed. Let me not reach for what was never mine to carry. Instead, help me to stand in front of every closed door with gratitude, not because I enjoy pain or loss, but because I trust the hands that are guiding me. If you said no, there was a reason, and even if I never fully understand it, I believe it was good, because you are good, Lord. I want to walk forward with open hands. I want to stop knocking on doors you have already locked. I want to stop staring at the things that did not happen and missing the things you are unfolding now. Let me not be so consumed by what I missed that I fail to notice what you are making new. Let my heart become tender again, not afraid to hope, but wise enough to wait for what is truly from you. I realize now that some of the best things you have done, my life began with a no. They began with a loss, with a detour, with a quiet ending I did not ask for. And yet, looking back, those were the moments that shaped me the most. Not the victories, not the applause, but the broken spaces where you met me and molded me into someone who depends on you more than on outcomes. Let me see with clarity what I could not see back then. Let me look back not with shame or longing, but with wonder at how you were moving even when I thought nothing was happening. Show me that there is mercy even in the things I never received. That sometimes unanswered prayers are the loudest declarations of your love. That when you say no, you are not closing off my future, you are redirecting me to something better. Something fuller. Something in line with your perfect will. So I bless the door that did not open. I bless the path that ended. I bless the season that was shorter than I expected. I bless the relationship that did not last. Not because it did not matter, because it taught me how to follow you more deeply. I bless it because through it, you drew me closer. You refined my desires. You helped me see that you are the prize, not the platform, not the plan, not the place I thought I was headed. Thank you, Father, for loving me enough to close what needed to be closed. Thank you for staying close when I did not understand. Thank you for the slow grace of hindsight, for the healing that comes from seeing with spirit-led eyes. You have never once abandoned me in the aftermath. You have always been near, gently turning my face away from the locked door and toward the open space where new life waits to begin. So here I am, facing forward, not chasing what was lost, but leaning into what is still to come. Not mourning closed doors, but anticipating divine ones. Not fearing another no, but embracing it if it leads me deeper into your purpose. Because I no longer measure goodness by what opens. I measure it by who leads me. And as long as it is you, I have everything I need. Father, as I continue to let go of the doors that never opened and release the weight of what I thought I needed, I find myself drawn into something quieter, something deeper. I find myself longing for peace, not the kind that comes from resolution or results, but the kind that anchors me even when everything outside remains unresolved. The kind of peace that cannot be shaken by what I cannot see. There is something holy about this space I am in. It is not filled with answers, not defined by breakthroughs, not even marked by motion. It is simply quiet, and instead of resisting it like I used to, I am beginning to rest in it, not because I understand it, but because you are here. You are teaching me, moment by moment, that peace is not the product of control. It is the fruit of trust. Trust in you, not in outcomes, not in clarity, not in plans I can manage, just in you. Lord, I confess how often I have chased peace by trying to fix things. How many times I have thought that if I could just solve the problem, clarify the situation, or find the answer, the unrest inside me would disappear. But even when solutions came, the restlessness returned, because peace cannot be manufactured. It can only be received, and I can only receive it from you. So I come to you again, not with requests for change, but with a desire to be changed. Change the way I see this moment. Change the way I carry uncertainty. Change the way I define peace. Let it no longer be tied to the absence of conflict or the presence of predictability. Let it become the steady rhythm of my heart aligned with yours. A deep, quiet knowing that even when nothing moves, you do not stop being faithful. You are not asking me to understand this season. You are asking me to walk through it with you, to stop measuring my progress by what I can see, to stop judging your nearness by what I can feel, to stop believing that unseen means unimportant. You are reminding me that the deepest growth happens where no eye can see, that the most important roots are the ones beneath the surface, that even now, even here, even in this quiet space, you are forming something eternal within me. Help me to stop searching for signs and start looking for you. Not for what you can do, but for who you are in the midst of what is unseen. When I wake up to the same questions, the same unanswered prayers, the same gentle silence, let me wake up knowing that I am not waking up alone. Let me remember that your presence is not louder when things go my way. Your peace does not depend on outcomes aligning with my expectations. It is steady because you are steady. It is sure because you do not change. Even when the wind picks up and the ground beneath me feels unsteady, let your peace become my foundation. Let it run deeper than the surface storms. Let it steady me from within so I am not tossed around by every emotion or every delay. I want to be someone who carries peace, not because life is easy, but because you have become my resting place. I want to move through this season with grace, with softness, with a heart that refuses to become bitter or frantic or numb. Teach me to breathe slowly here, to stop running in circles, looking for reassurance, and instead let myself fall into the calm that only comes from you. The kind of calm that knows I am held even when I do not know what comes next. The kind of calm that no longer fights the unknown, but leans into it because you are already there. I do not want to live bracing for impact. I want to live with open hands, unguarded and unafraid, because I know that nothing takes you by surprise. God, when I am tempted to panic, teach me to pause. When I feel the urge to control, teach me to release. When I begin to spin stories in my mind of worst-case outcomes, remind me of what is real. You are here. You are good. You are not leaving. And you are enough for this moment. I do not need to know more. I do not need to do more. I simply need to be with you and let your peace become the atmosphere I live in. Let that peace guard my heart when fear tries to creep in. Let it guard my thoughts when I feel overwhelmed. Let it guard my words when I want to react out of anxiety. Let it guard my relationships, my decisions, my future. I do not want to carry the weight of what I cannot control. I want to carry your presence into every uncertain place, because when your peace reigns in me, I can walk through anything without being undone by it. There will always be unknowns, always things I do not see, but I do not need to be shaken by the unseen. You are the God who works in shadows just as much as in light. You are the God who plants in the dark before fruit grows in the open. You are the God who speaks in silence and leads through mystery. And if I know nothing else, I know that you are faithful in all of it. So I will stop waiting for the visible before I rest. I will stop needing confirmation before I feel secure. I will stop requiring understanding before I choose peace. I will choose it now, even in the questions, even in the fog, even in the long middle stretch where nothing makes sense. Because you are here, and where you are, peace is possible. I do not need to manufacture it. I do not need to pretend to have it. I only need to remain in you and let it rise. Let it rise above fear. Let it rise above timelines. Let it rise above all the noise I once let define my reality. Let it settle deep in my bones and remind me that I belong to something unshakable. That even when the world around me shifts, even when the answers take time, I can stand still and not be moved. You are not just the God of answers. You are the God of presence. You are not just the God of miracles. You are the God of mornings like this one, quiet, unremarkable on the surface, yet filled with grace. I do not want to miss the miracle of this peace, just because it does not come with fireworks. I want to receive it fully. Let it wrap around me and carry it with me into every space I step into today. Let your peace be the compass I follow. Let it be the light that steadies me when I cannot see far ahead. Let it be the voice that calms every anxious thought. Let it be the promise that reminds me I am never alone. And let it be enough, not because everything makes sense, but because I know you do. Father, as your peace begins to settle into the places where fear once lived, I find myself able to breathe differently, no longer gasping for control or chasing false security, but breathing with trust that you are present, and you are providing even here, even now, even before I see the evidence. And the more I rest in that truth, the more I begin to realize how much I have tried to carry alone, how often I have strained under the pressure of providing for myself emotionally, spiritually, practically. But this morning, I release the weight I was never meant to hold. I make room to receive what only you can give. You are not only the God of peace, You are the God of provision, not just in crisis, not just in emergencies, but in the everyday rhythm of my life. You know my needs before I speak them. You know my hunger before I feel it. You know my weakness before I admit it. And still, you come close. Still, you prepare. Still, you pour out enough again and again, not always more than I want, but always more than I deserve. Lord, I admit there are moments when lack feels louder than promise, when what I do not have seems to echo more forcefully than what you have promised. Sometimes I look at what is in my hands and wonder how it could ever be enough. I see the gaps in my resources, the cracks in my confidence, the limits in my strength, and in those places, the temptation is to panic, to fix, to hustle. But you are calling me to a higher way to lift my eyes instead of lowering my standards, to look to you instead of leaning on myself. Remind me, God, that you are my source, not my income, not my skills, not my surroundings. You alone sustain me. You alone fill what is empty. You alone make a way where none seems possible. Let this not just be something I say in faith, but something I live from in freedom. Let it move from my mouth to my bones, from a belief to a posture. I want to live as someone who truly knows that heaven backs me, that divine provision is not reserved for the spectacular, it is woven into my daily steps. You provided for Israel with manna in the wilderness, not a year's worth in a single day, just enough for today. And you never missed a morning. You never forgot a need. You never let them go hungry. Even when they complained, even when they wandered. That is who you are, not a supplier who runs dry, but a Father who never fails. And if you did it then, I know you are doing it now. So I bring you my not enoughs, my too smalls, my almosts, my do not know how this will work moments. I lay them down, not in defeat, but in surrender, because what is insufficient in my hands becomes more than enough in yours. I do not need to multiply. I just need to place it in the hands of the one who does. Let that be my act of faith, not in waiting until I have more, but in trusting that what I have is enough for you to use, even when I feel unqualified, unprepared, or unsure. You are never limited by my lack. In fact, you often do your greatest work in places where lack is loudest. That is where you show up with unexpected provision. A word of encouragement at the perfect time. A door that opens quietly and effortlessly. Strength that rises when I thought I had nothing left. Joy that returns after a long night of sorrow. These are not coincidences. They are kindnesses. They are you. Help me to live with open hands, not clinging to what I think I must protect, but open to receive what you are always pouring out. Help me to stop obsessing over how it will all come together and start focusing on who is holding it all together. Let me walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their steps are backed by divine supply. Let me speak with the peace of someone who knows their future is already accounted for. I may not see how it will all unfold, but I can trust the one who holds the blueprint. I may not have all I think I need right now, but if you are asking me to walk, then you are providing what I cannot yet see. If you are calling me forward, You have already arranged for what will be needed when I get there. And if you are keeping me here, then you are sustaining me in this place, in this moment, with exactly what I need. Father, when doubt whispers, remind me of every time you came through, every time the oil did not run out, every time the bill was paid, every time the heaviness lifted when I thought it never would, every time the unexpected kindness came, every time I thought I was at the end. But you brought new strength. Let those memories become my altar of faith, stones of remembrance that say you are still the same. Let me be generous even when I feel like I do not have much to give. Let me serve from a place of overflow. Not because I have everything, but because I know the one who does. Let me stop measuring what I bring to the table and start trusting that you bless what is surrendered, whether it is my time, my heart, my words, or my resources. If it is in your hands, it is already more than enough. And when provision comes in ways I did not expect, let me recognize it. Let me not overlook the quiet ways you meet my needs while waiting for something louder. Provision does not always look like abundance. Sometimes it looks like peace in the middle of pressure. Sometimes it looks like energy that gets me through the day. Sometimes it looks like the right person at the right moment. I do not want to miss it because I had a different picture in my mind. You are not limited by what I see. You are not held back by my circumstances. You are the God of more than enough, even when all I see is not quite enough. And you never run out. You never get tired. You never ration out grace. You supply freely, faithfully, and fully. So I will stop striving to earn what you have already promised. I will stop doubting what you have already made sure. I will walk today knowing that I am sustained not by chance, not by luck, but by love. Let that truth go with me now. Let it become my rhythm, my heartbeat, my strength. Every step I take, every word I speak, every thought I think, let it be rooted in the unshakable reality that you provide, that you have already made a way, that nothing is missing from what you have assigned me today. And if something is not yet here, it is because it is not yet needed. I trust you to give when it is time, to pour out when I am ready, to withhold only when it protects me. You are not just enough. You are more than enough. Always present. Always providing. Always aware of what I need, even before I say a word. I walk forward in this day, not with fear, but with faith. Not with pressure, but with peace. Not with questions about supply, but with confidence in the source. You are with me, and because you are, I will have all I need, Lord. As I carry forward what you have just reminded me, that you are my source, and that nothing I need will be withheld from me in your perfect timing. I now feel you gently pressing me towards something deeper, something harder, a place I have avoided for far too long. The quiet but weighty invitation to release, to let go, to unclench the parts of my life I have held so tightly out of fear that if I do not grip them, everything will fall apart. And yet, even as you call me to open my hands, I feel the resistance rise in me. because letting go feels like losing. It feels like risking everything. It feels like surrendering control, when control is the only thing I thought kept me safe. But God, you are not asking me to lose everything. You are inviting me to trust you with everything. And that is a very different kind of release. Not reckless abandonment, but holy surrender. Not giving up, but giving in to your wisdom, to your timing, to your plan that sees beyond what I can grasp. I have carried the weight of trying to fix, to manage, to protect, to plan, to predict, and I am tired. I was not built to hold all of this. You never designed me to be the one holding all the strings. And deep down, I know that. So now I stand here with my palms slowly opening, whispering not my will, but yours. Father, there are places in my heart that have grown calloused from clinging too long, areas where I have held on to old dreams, old wounds, old versions of who I thought I needed to be. And yet, you are speaking gently, calling me not to discard my story, but to release the weight of controlling how it unfolds. To trust that if something slips from my grasp, it was either never mine or no longer needed. To believe that what you allow to fall away makes space for something better, deeper, more eternal. Sometimes what you ask me to release is not bad, it is just not best. Sometimes it is the plan I made, the expectation I nurtured, the timeline I built. Sometimes it is a relationship begged to keep, an opportunity I shaped my identity around, or a version of the future I was convinced would satisfy me. And when those things begin to unravel, it is tempting to believe I have failed. But maybe it is not failure. Maybe it is faith. Maybe the unraveling is where you start weaving something new. Maybe what feels like the end is really just the beginning of something sacred. I bring you my illusions of control, Lord. The moments I thought I knew better, the times I insisted on my own way, the clenched fists and closed hearts and anxious thoughts that tried to outrun your will. I bring you my desire to manipulate outcomes, to micromanage what was never mine to dictate. I lay down the need to be right, to be secure on my own terms, to have guarantees before I take a step. And as I lay these things down, I feel the fiercest fear that without control, I will be vulnerable. Fear that letting go means being left behind. Fear that if I stop fighting for it, no one else will. But you are not leaving me defenseless. You are not abandoning me in surrender. You are meeting me there. You are taking my empty hands and filling them with peace. Not the peace of resolution, but the peace of release. A peace that comes not because everything is perfect, but because everything is held. A peace that tells me I do not need to know how it ends, to trust that you are in it. You are not asking me to stop caring. You are asking me to trust more deeply, to believe that your care for me and for those I love is more constant, more wise, more powerful than mine could ever be. God, remind me that surrender is not weakness, it is strength under authority. It is courage born from faith. It is not passive, it is fiercely obedient. It says yes to you even when the outcome is unclear. It trusts you more than it trusts itself. And though it may come with tears, it also comes with transformation. You never ask me to release without promising to redeem. You never ask me to let go without preparing to restore. You never ask me to die to something without planning to resurrect something better in its place. So here I am, letting go of what I thought I needed, letting go of what I tried to force, letting go of the version of my story that never quite fit, but I clung to anyway, letting go of needing to be seen a certain way, of proving my worth, of measuring success by standards you never gave me, letting go of the past that haunts me and the future I cannot control. I release the pressure to perform, to impress, to carry more than my soul can bear. I let it go not because it does not matter, but because it matters too much to be mishandled by fear. And in the emptiness left by letting go, I find you waiting, not with condemnation, but with comfort, not with shame, but with assurance. You speak into the silence with the voice of a shepherd who knows the path, even when I cannot see it. You take what I release and you hold it with grace. You transform what I surrender into something sacred. And though it may take time for me to see the fruit of it, I choose to trust now. I choose to believe now. I choose to walk forward now, not because I understand, but because I am yours. Let me live today with loosened hands and a quiet heart. Let me move through this day as someone who trusts, not because everything is certain, but because you are. Let me be willing to walk away from what you have not blessed, even if it is hard. Let me be brave enough to stay where you have placed me. Even if it is uncomfortable, let me release what no longer serves the purpose you have called me to, and make room for the new thing you are bringing. I do not have to understand the entire picture to surrender this peace. I do not need all the answers to offer this yes, and I won't wait for perfect peace to release what is heavy. I will release, and the peace will come. I will let go, and the healing will begin. I will trust, and the path will unfold, because when I let go, you take hold. When I step back, you step in. When I empty my hands, you fill them with grace, and that is enough for me today. Lord, after releasing what I could no longer carry, there is now an unfamiliar quietness within me. As I open my heart in this stillness, I sense that you are not just leading me into surrender, but into something even more stretching, waiting, and not the passive kind of waiting that drifts in boredom or impatience, but the kind that breathes with trust even when nothing seems to move. It is here, in this sacred pause, that you teach me how to live not by what I see, but by who you are, not by what has happened, but by what you have promised. Waiting, Lord, is not easy. It tests the deepest parts of my trust. It exposes the places where I still crave control, where I secretly hoped my obedience would accelerate the outcome. But I am beginning to see that waiting is not a punishment. It is a preparation. It is the soil where faith takes root and grows deep beneath the surface. I do not want to merely survive the wait. I want to be transformed in it. I want to learn how to worship while I wait, how to remain faithful without seeing the finish line, how to believe even when the evidence is scarce. God, in the quiet stretch of time between letting go and receiving what is next, my mind often runs wild. I begin to imagine outcomes, rehearse fears, question decisions, and reanalyze every step. But you are calling me out of mental chaos and into sacred stillness, into a waiting that is not empty, but rich with hidden work. I may not see the fruit yet, but I trust that the roots are growing. I may not feel movement, but I believe that heaven is arranging things on my behalf. You are not delayed, you are deliberate. So Lord, teach me to wait with wonder instead of worry. Help me trade striving for stillness and panic for presence. Let me remember that some of your most powerful work is done in silence. You grew Joseph in the prison before the palace. You shaped Moses in the desert before the deliverance. You refined David in the wilderness before the throne. These stories were not shortcuts, they were sanctuaries of becoming. So if you are keeping me here a little longer, I will stop resisting and start listening. What are you whispering in this wait? Give me eyes to notice the miracles in the mundane. Let me not miss the beauty of this season simply because I am too focused on the next. Whether it is the kindness of a stranger, the warmth of morning light, or the quiet joy of breath in my lungs, let me see your fingerprints all around. Waiting does not mean you have forgotten me. It means you are still forming me. And I trust that what you are forming in me is far more valuable than anything I could rush to obtain. When doubt tries to creep in and convince me that nothing is happening, anchor me again in truth. Remind me that you do not waste time. Remind me that every second surrendered to you is sacred. Remind me that you are not only preparing the blessing for me, but you are preparing me for the blessing. And sometimes that takes longer than I expect. But if it takes time to make it holy, then let it take all the time it needs. I bring you the days when hope feels thin, the mornings when I wake up with heaviness instead of expectation, the moments when discouragement whispers that maybe I misheard you or misunderstood the promise. In those fragile spaces, meet me with your voice, the same voice that said, "Peace, be still," to the raging sea. Say it now to the storm within me. I do not need to know the when. I just need to be reminded of the who, and you are the God who finishes what he begins. Let me hold on to the quiet courage of those who waited before me. Abraham, who waited decades for the child of promise. Hannah, who cried year after year before her miracle came. Simon, who lived his whole life with a promise burning in his heart, and held it only at the very end. None of their waits were wasted, and mine won't be either, because you are a God who sees, a God who hears, a God who comes through. If the wait stretches longer than I hoped, let it stretch my faith rather than break my spirit. If the silence lingers longer than I want, let it deepen my listening rather than make me numb. And if the days go by without visible change, help me remember that invisible shifts are still happening in the spiritual. Your timing is not just about delay, it is about alignment. It is about unfolding your story in the most meaningful and miraculous way. I surrender my deadlines and expectations. I let go of the timeline I held so tightly and choose instead to hold tightly to you. Because you are not bound by time, you stand outside of it and yet enter into it with me. You are never late, never rushed, never distracted. And because you walk with me in the waiting, I am never abandoned in it. I am learning to see the wait as a room where you sit with me, not a hallway where I pace alone. So I will wait with purpose. I will wait with praise. I will wait as one who believes that every second surrendered in faith is like a seed sown in the soil of heaven. It may not sprout today, but it will in due season. For you are the God of appointed times. You are the God of holy delays and perfect fulfillments. You are the God who never teases, never tricks, never forgets. And though I may still long for the answer, I now long more for the intimacy of this moment with you. Let this waiting season be the womb of something holy. Let it birth patience, resilience, trust, and deeper love. Let it stretch my heart wide enough to receive the fullness of what you desire to give. And even if what comes is different than what I imagined, I believe it will be better. Because you are better. You are the gift beyond the gifts, the answer beyond the answers, the promise greater than the fulfillment itself. So I exhale again, not because I have what I want, but because I know who holds what I need. I quiet my soul, not with the certainty of outcomes, but with the certainty of your goodness. I rest my hopes in your hands, and I wait not with fear, but with faith, not with bitterness, but with open hands, not with weariness, but with wonder. For even here in the pause, you are present, and that is more than enough. Lord, when the waiting feels long and my heart grows weary in the silence, I find myself searching again for signs, some reassurance, some evidence that you are near and working behind what I cannot see. And yet, even as the world around me remains unchanged, I sense your voice whispering, not in thunder or lightning, but in the stillness, gently reminding me that you are here, even when clarity is not. Father, it is not the answers that sustain me in these moments, but your presence, when I cannot see the road ahead, when every step forward feels like walking through mist. I am learning to lean on who you are more than what I understand. You never ask me to figure everything out. You only asked me to follow, to trust, to believe you are who you say you are, even when the path ahead is hidden in shadow. And so I come again, not with demands, but with open hands, asking for the grace to trust you with my unknowns. There are times, God, when the fear of the future wraps itself around me like a fog, thick and blinding. I imagine what could go wrong. I worry about what might never change. I spiral into thoughts of loss, disappointment, or failure. But you are not the author of confusion. You are the steady hand guiding me through every twist and turn, even when I do not recognize the terrain. So today, I choose to silence the anxious narratives, to stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios, and instead breathe deeply in the truth that you go before me and make the crooked paths straight. Teach me, Lord, how to live in the now while still holding hope for what is to come. Help me not to miss the beauty of today while my eyes scan the horizon for tomorrow's breakthrough. Let me not measure your faithfulness by my current circumstances, but by the unchanging nature of your heart. Because even when I walk through seasons of uncertainty, you are never uncertain. You remain sure, steady, unfailing. There is peace in knowing that you are not intimidated by my questions, that you do not flinch when I ask, why, or when, or even how long. You receive those cries, not with frustration, but with compassion. You do not rush to shut down my doubts, but instead offer yourself as the answer, not an explanation, but a presence, not a timetable, but a trust. And maybe, just maybe, that is the deeper gift. To find that faith is not the absence of questions, but the decision to anchor my heart in you despite them. Lord, I surrender my desire to control. I surrender the belief that if I had all the answers, I would feel more secure, because deep down, I know that even with full understanding, I could still feel afraid. What I need is not more information, but more intimacy with you. Draw me close in the quiet, in the moments when the noise fades and the stillness invites. Let me discover again that you are not a distant God, waiting on the other side of resolution, but a near God sitting with me in the middle of every uncertainty. Father, I bring you the weight of my unanswered prayers, the silent tears shed in solitude, the confusion that wakes me in the night. I lay them before you not with resentment, but with reverence. For I know you see the whole picture, and I see only a corner. I know you are weaving together a tapestry of grace that my limited view cannot yet comprehend. And even when I feel forgotten, you are remembering every detail, counting every sigh, bottling every tear. You are the God of hidden provision, the God who places manna on the ground before dawn, who parts seas with wind in the night, who sends angels unannounced to the weary and afraid. And if you have done it before, you can do it again. So even if my eyes do not yet see the deliverance, let my soul still sing of the deliverer. Even if my hands are still empty, let my heart remain full of trust. Let this uncertainty become holy ground. Let it strip away the illusions I once clung to and reveal what is truly lasting. Let it refine my desires and reshape my perspective. And let it draw me into the kind of faith that is not based on what I feel, but on what I know to be true about you. For you are not a fleeting feeling. You are a rock, a refuge, a firm foundation that does not shift with the winds of emotion. God, anchor me again in your promises, not just the ones I hope to see fulfilled, but the ones already fulfilled in your character. You have promised never to leave me nor forsake me. You have promised to complete the good work you began. You have promised that all things will work together for good for those who love you. These are not fragile hopes, they are unshakable truths, and I hold on to them like lifelines in the storm. When I feel like retreating, give me courage to stand. When I feel like rushing ahead, give me patience to wait. When I feel like giving up, give me strength to remain, not because I am strong, but because you are. Not because I have it all together, but because you are holding all things together, including me. And that is enough for today. So I take another breath, not because the way is clear, but because you are near. I take another step, not because I am fearless, but because I trust that you will meet me there. And I lift my eyes once more not to the mountain of problems, but to the maker of the mountains, who speaks peace over chaos and light into darkness. Here, in this moment, In this chapter of waiting and wondering, I choose to believe that you are still writing a beautiful story with my life, even the confusing parts, even the delays, even the seasons that seem to stretch on without answers. Because if you are in it, then it is not wasted. If you are here, then I am safe. If you are moving, then I will not miss what is meant for me. So I offer you my uncertain heart again, not to fix in an instant, but to hold, to heal, and to lead. And I trust that even in the shadows, your light is near. Even in the waiting, you are working. Even in the silence, you are speaking. And even now, you are enough, Lord. When I think of how far you have already carried me, my heart softens with gratitude. You have never promised that every road would be short or easy, but you have promised that I would never walk it alone. And just as I reminded myself that you are enough in the last breath of yesterday, I now step into this new morning asking you to help me believe that more deeply, not only when I feel strong, but especially when I feel weary. Father, there is something sacred about the seasons that stretch us, when progress feels slow and answers remain out of reach. Something deeper takes root within, a kind of endurance that does not come from striving, but from surrender. A quiet, steady hope that defies the noise of delay. So here I am again, bringing you this moment, asking you to meet me in the middle of the road that still unfolds before me. Let my soul not grow impatient in the pause. Let my heart not become bitter in the waiting. Let me see this long path not as punishment, but as preparation for what you are still building in me. There are days when my own expectations weigh heavier than the burdens of life itself. I think things should have happened by now, should look different, should feel more resolved, but you are not bound by my timelines. You are not rushing to meet my deadlines. You are teaching me that what you are doing in me matters just as much, if not more, than what I am waiting to receive. So refine me, Lord. Shape me in the slow unfolding. Let the waiting stretch my faith, deepen my compassion, sharpen my vision, and strengthen my soul. God, it is not that I do not believe you can do miracles. I do. I have seen them. I have felt them. I have heard the stories that shake the dust from dry bones. But I also believe that sometimes the greater miracle is what you are doing within, while we are still asking for the external to change. So if today does not look like breakthrough, let it look like peace. If the door does not open yet, let there be growth in the hallway. If the mountain is not moved, let my legs find strength to climb it, not by my power, but by the quiet confidence that you are climbing with me. Lord, I surrender the pressure to appear unfazed. I do not need to wear a mask before you. You see the honest cries, the trembling hands, the restless thoughts I try to quiet when no one else is watching. You are not asking me to pretend. You are inviting me to pour it out. Every worry, every disappointment, every fear I hesitate to name out loud. You can handle the full weight of what I carry. You do not call me weak when I lay it down. You call me brave for trusting you enough to release it. In these quiet hours of mourning, I ask you to take what is broken in me and do what only you can: breathe life where hope has faded, Speak peace where anxiety has taken root. Remind me that no valley is too low, no silence too deep, no detour too long that you cannot find me in it. Let me rest in the knowledge that I am not behind. I am not forgotten. I am not disqualified because the journey is taking longer than expected. You are the God who restores in your time, not mine. You redeem the time we think is lost. You renew what we thought was wasted. Father, show me how to keep moving forward even when I can see far ahead. Help me live one moment at a time, not in dread of the unknown, but in trust of the unseen hand that guides me. When I begin to compare my pace to someone else's, remind me that their journey is not mine, that what you are cultivating in me may take longer because it is being rooted more deeply. And deep roots are not visible on the surface, but they are what anchor trees through storms. Let me walk today not for applause, not for outcomes, but for the quiet joy of knowing I am walking with you. Whether day brings visible progress or simply another chance to believe again, let it be enough. Let me see small graces as signs of your nearness, the kindness of a stranger, the warmth of morning light, the rhythm of my own breathing as a reminder that I am still here, still growing, still held. God, it is so easy to lose hope when we measure it only by outcomes. But I want to be someone who holds hope not because I always see the reason, but because I know the source. You are the reason I get up again. You are the reason I pray, even when I do not feel like it. You are the reason I have not quit. And even if I face another day of waiting, I choose to see it not as another delay, but another invitation to trust, to believe, to remain open to the unfolding wonder of your ways. Teach me how to live fully present even while I wait, to engage, to love, to build, to serve, not as a placeholder for the future, but as an act of worship today. Let my life be a reflection of trust not in theory, but in practice. Let my peace be rooted not in what I am waiting for, but in the one I am waiting with. And let that be my testimony. Not everything happened quickly, but that I trusted fully even when it did not. So, Father, I take today as it comes, not rushing it, not resenting it, not rewriting it with my fears. I take it as a gift. Even if it comes wrapped in uncertainty, I unwrap it slowly, carefully, and with expectation that you are in every detail, working all things for good. If I stumble, I trust you to steady me. If I doubt, I trust you to remind me of truth. If I grow tired, I trust you to carry me until I can walk again. Because I know that hope is not found in what happens next, it is found in who you are now. And you are faithful, you are enough, you are here, Lord. As I step in this morning, still holding on to the hope you planted deep within me, I find myself quietly reaching for a deeper trust, not the kind of trust that only sings when the storm passes, but the kind that breathes steadily while clouds still linger. And even now, though my eyes may not yet see the road clearly ahead, something within me whispers that you are already there, preparing what I cannot predict. Father, I do not ask today for the full map, but only for the courage to take the next step, even if the terrain beneath me shifts, even if the path curves in ways I did not anticipate. Let my soul lean into your leading rather than my fear. Teach me not to freeze in the unknown, but to trust that each moment of movement, no matter how small, is still sacred when it follows your direction. I know now that the journey is not always defined by the speed at which I move, but by the surrender that marks each step. God, you are not a distant observer to my unfolding story. You are not merely watching. You are weaving, thread by thread, decision by decision. You are stitching together something I cannot yet comprehend. So remind me in these quiet moments that what feels unseen is not forgotten. What feels delayed is not denied. And what feels uncertain is not unsafe when I am walking beside you. You do not need clarity to lead me. You only ask for willingness. Let this day be less about knowing and more about trusting. Let my spirit no longer be agitated by unanswered questions, but instead become anchored in the truth that I am not navigating this life alone. Even when my thoughts try to sprint toward future fears or cling to past regrets, remind me gently to return to now, to this breath, to this step, to the steady presence of you walking with me, not behind or ahead, but here in the very fabric of my present. Lord, I know how easily my heart tries to outrun reality, to jump ahead in hopes of solving what has not even unfolded yet. But you do not rush me into resolution. You invite me into rhythm. And today, I choose to slow down enough to hear your voice again, to sense your hand gently guiding rather than forcing. You are not impatient with my questions. You welcome them. But more than answers, you offer yourself, and that is always enough. Help me to resist the lie that progress only exists in visible results. Help me to see the invisible victories, the moments I chose patience over panic, stillness over striving, peace over control. These unseen triumphs shape my soul in ways that applause never could. Let me live today not for performance, but for presence, not for outcomes, but for intimacy. And let each task, no matter how mundane, become a sanctuary where I meet you again and again. Father, when I am tempted to lean on my own understanding, gently pull me back to trust. When the logic of my mind tries to override the leading of your spirit, soften my grip on certainty. You see beyond what I see. You know beyond what I know. And sometimes, the most powerful step I can take is not forward, but downward in humility, in surrender, in acknowledgement that you are God and I am not. I release the pressure to have it all figured out today. I release the weight of needing every piece to fall into place by nightfall. Instead, I receive the peace that comes from walking with you, one quiet moment at a time. You do not measure my faith by how quickly I move, but by how fully I trust. And even when I feel unsure, choosing to walk forward with you is still trust in motion. God, make me aware today of the gentle ways you lead me. Let me notice the soft promptings, the nudges, the inner knowing that often speaks without volume. Help me to discern your direction in the silence, and to find assurance not in the absence of difficulty, but in the consistency of your character. You are always faithful. You are always present. You never abandon me midway. Remind me that you are not only the God of the destination, but the God of the detour, the delay, the discomfort. You use every step, every twist, every waiting season to deepen my dependence and expand my heart. What looks like a pause in progress is often a pause for preparation. What I see as an interruption, you see as alignment. And what I think is taking too long is, in fact, right on time in your sovereign hands. So today, Father, let me embrace what is instead of resisting what is not. Let me lean into this part of the story without trying to rewrite it with fear or frustration. Let me trust that even in the unknown, you are still working. And if I cannot yet see the full picture, let me rest in the artist who holds the brush. May I walk with open hands, willing to release control. May I walk with open eyes, willing to see grace in unexpected places. May I walk with open ears, ready to hear your still small voice amidst the noise. And may I walk with an open heart, willing to be shaped, refined, and renewed again today, not by what I gain, but by who I become in you. Let this journey not just be about reaching goals, but about becoming the kind of person who walks with you through both clarity and confusion. Let my character grow in the soil of surrender. Let my strength be built not on predictability, but on presence yours, not mine. And let every unseen step be a declaration of quiet faith that says, even if I do not know where this road leads, I trust the one who walks beside me. You are the way when I can see one. You are the light when my path feels dim. You are the shepherd when I feel lost. And you are the peace when the world around me swirls in uncertainty. I need no map when I am led by love. I need no sign when I am anchored in you. And I need no fear when I walk in faith. So Lord, take my hand again. Lead me today not to the answers, but to you, God, as the rhythm of your presence continues to steady my heart. I find myself longing not only to follow, but understand how to wait in you. The more I walk with you, the more I realize that trust is not always about movement, but sometimes about stillness, a quiet resting in what has not yet been revealed. And just as yesterday's grace led me gently into today, I ask you now to teach me to lean into the unhurried unfolding of your will with greater peace. Father, there are days when I crave resolution more than transformation. Days when I wish you would remove the questions, rather than deepen my faith through them. But you, in your loving wisdom, choose to form me in the waiting, not just rescue me from it. You shape me in the soil of tension, not always by bringing clarity, but by growing my roots deeper into trust. So today, I surrender again not to the pressure of outcomes, but to the process that keeps my soul aligned with you. Lord, I confess how tempting it is to measure the day by what I accomplish or complete, to gauge my worth by visible progress. But you are not a God of performance. You are the God of presence. And as you draw me nearer, I begin to see that becoming who you designed me to be is not a race, but a rhythm, a sacred cadence of listening, yielding, responding, and resting. So let my soul move to the tempo of your spirit and not to the noise of my own striving. Let me not despise the days that feel slow or silent. Instead, open my eyes to the hidden miracles woven into the ordinary, the quiet nudges that realign my focus, the divine delays that protect me from detours I do not yet understand, the unexplained pauses that prepare my heart for more than I thought to ask. Help me embrace these unseen blessings as deeply as I celebrate the ones that come wrapped in celebration. God, you are writing a story in me that will not be rushed. You are carving paths through wilderness I never imagined I would walk through. And still, you promise that I will not be overcome, because you walk with me. So if today brings repetition instead of revelation, routine instead of reward, help me remember that faithfulness in small things is never wasted in your kingdom. Let me show up for the life I have while trusting you for the life you are building. Make me attentive today not just to the loud moments, but to the subtle ones. Not just to the victories, but to the glimpses of grace tucked in quiet corners. Make me a witness to your presence in unexpected places. In the way the sunlight brushes through the window, in the sound of laughter that interrupts worry, in the soft peace that follows a moment of surrender. Teach me to see that you are just as present in the stillness as you are in the breakthrough. When I grow restless, remind me that even stillness can be sacred. When I feel left behind, assure me that you are not late. When comparison tries to steal my contentment, pull me back to the truth that your plans for me are personal, intentional, and never rushed. I do not walk in anyone else's footsteps, and the race you have set before me is not meant to mirror another S. Let truth free me to honor my own journey without shame or pressure. Father, some of the deepest healing happens not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not in noise, but in quiet. So if this is a season of deep, quiet growth, help me not to resent it, but to respect it, to trust that you are forming unseen strength within me that will carry me when the next stretch of road requires more than I now possess. I may not feel it now, but I believe that nothing is wasted in your hands. No delay, no detour, no moment of waiting escapes your purpose. Even when I can trace the outcome, I can trace your character. You are faithful, you are kind, you are patient, you are near, and I will choose to plant myself in these truths rather than be uprooted by doubt. I will choose to breathe slowly through the unknown instead of holding my breath until everything makes sense. You are teaching me to trust, not just in where you are leading, but in how you are leading gently, steadily, perfectly. Let my prayers today not only ask for change, but also for endurance, not just for open doors, but for peace in the hallway, not just for answers, but for the strength to hold questions with grace. Let my heart become more rooted in who you are than in what you do for me. Because if I have you, I already have what matters most. Every other gift is just a reflection of your love, never a requirement to prove it. God, I surrender the need to understand everything to the one who already knows it all. I lay down my timelines, my ultimatums, my expectations, and I pick up faith, not because I feel strong, but because I know you are, even in the stillness, even in the waiting, even in the parts of life that do not yet make sense. I will choose to believe that you are good and that you are working, There is freedom in knowing I do not have to carry what only you can complete. There is peace in stepping back and letting you lead the dance. There is joy in learning that I am not behind, not forgotten, not disqualified, but right where I need to be in your care, in your timing, in your will. What you start, you finish. What you promise, you fulfill. What you plant, you grow. So as this day unfolds, let me not rush past the beauty of now. Let me slow down enough to hear your whispers. Let me be soft enough to be molded by your touch. Let me trust enough to stay planted when everything in me wants to run. You are working in ways I cannot see, and that is enough. Let that truth be the quiet drumbeat that carries me through each task, each thought, each breath. And if all I do today is trust you a little more deeply, love others a little more intentionally, and rest a little more fully in your grace, then let that be enough. You delight in faith that perseveres through silence. You rejoice in hearts that choose peace over panic, and you draw near to those who seek you with humility and hope. So God, I will wait in you, not as one who is forgotten, but as one who is deeply known, not as one who is abandoned, but as one who is held, not as one who is idle, but as one who is being made ready for what is to come. This moment matters. This waiting holds weight, and I will choose to trust the slow work of your hands, knowing that it is never truly slow when it is eternal. Lord, in the quiet following the trust I placed in your gentle unfolding, I feel the soft breath of courage stirring in my spirit, not the loud kind that demands to be noticed, but the sacred kind that walks in grace, even when fear whispers loudly. As I lean deeper into the stillness of your pace, I sense you are not just teaching me patience, but also strength, not the kind that strives to prove something, but the kind that simply believes you are enough. Father, this morning, as I take each step, let it not be driven by fear of falling behind, but moved instead by the assurance that you hold the timeline of my life in hands that never tremble. I do not want to walk in anxious circles or run toward goals birthed in insecurity. I want to walk in step with you, letting every moment be shaped by faith, not fear. Because I know now that peace is not the absence of uncertainty, it is the presence of trust in you. Right in the middle of it all, God, thank you for not demanding perfection before meeting me with love. You know every broken place in me, and you never flinch. You do not withdraw when I waver. You do not silence me when I am unsure. Instead, you draw nearer. You steady my breath. You remind me that grace does not just wait at the finish line, it meets me in every faltering step along the way. So today, help me walk boldly, not because I have everything figured out, but because you walk beside me. Teach me to see courage differently, not as the absence of fear, but as the willingness to move forward anyway, to keep choosing light even when shadows linger. Show me how to be brave in gentleness, strong in kindness, unshakable in compassion. Let my life whisper of your goodness, even in the silence. Especially in the silence, let my faith be loudest when my voice is quiet, when I choose mercy over defense, and trust overreaction. There are moments, Lord, when I feel small beneath the weight of the day, overwhelmed not by what is ahead, but by the simple effort of staying grounded. Help me not to run from those moments, but to meet them with honesty. Show me how to pause and breathe when I feel unworthy or underprepared. Remind me that you do not require a polished version of me to be near. You desire the real me, the wary, unfinished, searching heart, and in that, you do your deepest work. Father, when I look around and see others moving faster, rising higher, doing more, it is easy to believe I am falling short. But you gently pull my gaze back to your eyes and remind me that my pace is not failure, it is formation. You are not concerned with how quickly I arrive. You care that I arrive whole. So untangle me from the fear of being left behind and anchor me in the grace of your process. I do not have to outrun anyone. I only need to follow you. Let this day be an offering, not because I will accomplish anything grand, but because I will choose to love deeply, forgive freely, and walk humbly. Let me show up for others not from a place of pressure, but from the overflow of the quiet assurance that I am already loved, already seen, already held. Fill me so fully with your peace that it spills into every room I enter, not through grand gestures, but through small kindnesses that carry eternal weight. God, remind me that grace is not passive, it is powerful. It does not excuse me from growth, but it surrounds me as I grow. It does not deny my weaknesses, but it refuses to let them define me. It does not push me harder, but invites me deeper. So when I fail today, help me to fall into grace, not shame. When I miss the mark, help me to return without retreating. When I forget who I am, remind me that you never do. There is something sacred in knowing I can rest without guilt, that I can pause without losing momentum, that I can be still without being stuck. Thank you for that freedom. Thank you for that invitation to live from a place of wholeness rather than hunger. Let me carry this posture with me, this gentle confidence that I am enough, not because of my own strength, but because I am covered by yours. Help me release the inner critic, the one that tells me I need to do more, prove more, earn more. Let your voice grow louder than the noise that tries to steal my peace. Speak truth into the corners of my heart that still carry old narratives. Rewrite them with love. Replace them with belonging. Root them in the truth that I am yours, not because I got right, but because you are good. Lord, if today brings challenges I did not expect, let me meet them with grace instead of panic. If the people around me are hurting, let me respond with presence, not just solutions. If things do not go as planned, remind me that my joy is not held in circumstances, but secured in you. And when I am tempted to retreat, to isolate, to shut down, call me out with kindness. Call me back to connection. Call me back to light. Even in the moments when no one sees the effort, when the fight to stay faithful is quiet and internal, remind me that you see it all. Nothing is wasted. Every decision to love, every silent surrender, every tear withheld or released, they are all sacred to you. Let that be enough to keep me going. Let that truth be my strength when no one else notices. Let the rhythm of this day be mercy. Let it begin with grace and end with gratitude. Let it be saturated in kindness, soaked in honesty, shaped by trust. Let my life today be a silent sermon of hope, one that does not need grand words, just faithful steps. Let my presence bring comfort. Let my words bring clarity. Let my silence bring peace. God, as the sun continues to rise, let my heart rise with it, not in hurry, but in hope, not in noise, but in nearness, not in striving, but in surrender. I may not know what this day holds, but I know who holds me, and that changes everything. That makes the unknown bearable, the waiting purposeful, the silence meaningful. That gives me the courage to move forward with softness, to face today not with resistance, but with a heart wide open. If all I do today is stay connected to you, then that will be enough. If all I bring is my presence, honest and surrendered, you will meet me there. You always do. You do not ask for perfection. You ask for truth. You do not demand certainty. You welcome trust. You do not measure my life by moments that impress, but by the ones where I simply choose to believe you are still with me, even when I can't see the next step. And in that belief, I will walk into today with quiet courage and unwavering grace. Father, as the light of this day begins to stretch softly across the earth and wrap itself gently around my spirit, I carry forward the quiet courage you planted within me, knowing it will be sustained not by my willpower, but by your ongoing presence. I lean into the next breath with trust that you are already ahead of me, preparing the spaces I will enter, softening the places I will walk through, and weaving grace into the very rhythm of my steps. I do not need to rush, Lord, because you are never late. You are not pressured by clocks or calendars. Time folds itself around your wisdom, and in that truth, I can slow my racing thoughts and find rest for my soul. Every delay has meaning when it rests in your hands. Every waiting season becomes holy ground when I choose to see it through your eyes. Today, let me not push against time, but flow with it, knowing that your timing is never careless. There is so much that clamors for my attention. So many voices telling me to move faster, do more, reach higher, fix it all. But you, God, speak with a different tone. Yours is the voice that calls me inward before I move outward, that invites me to be still before I act, to listen before I speak. Let me hear you clearly today. Let your voice be the compass of my heart, the anchor of my choices, and the calm in the chaos. Sometimes, the hardest thing is not what I must do, but what I must trust, trusting that the unseen is still working, that the silence is not abandonment, that the waiting is not wasted. So help me let go of the need to always understand. Help me unclench my grip around certainty and instead open my hands to surrender. I do not need all the answers to take the next step. I only need enough faith to move with you. Lord, I have often thought that progress meant motion, that stillness was weakness, that peace was something earned by conquering all my fears. But you are teaching me that peace is not the prize, it is the path. That stillness is not the absence of strength, but the evidence of it. And that resting in you does not mean doing nothing, It means doing everything with a heart anchored in trust rather than tension. This day is not a race. It is a gift. Let me walk through it with reverence. Let my pace reflect my faith. Let my choices echo my dependence on you. I do not want to measure this day by productivity, but by presence, your presence with me, and my presence with others. Let me move slowly enough to notice beauty, to offer kindness, to extend patience where it is needed most. Let my spirit breathe, not rush. God, when anxiety rises like a tide threatening to pull me under, remind me that I am rooted in something deeper than my fears. Remind me that I have survived storms before, not because I was unshaken, but because you held me through the shaking. Let that remembrance be the lighthouse that steadies me when unknowns surround me. Let it quiet the urge to panic and instead awaken the confidence that comes from knowing I am never alone. If today brings disruptions, detours, or disappointment, let me meet them with eyes that have been trained to see purpose where others only see problems. Teach me to recognize the sacred in the inconvenient, the divine in the ordinary, the miraculous in the mundane. So often, you are working not in the loud moments, but in the hidden spaces, shaping things beneath the surface. Help me trust that process, even when I cannot trace it. Father, may I not chase a version of life that you never called me to. Let me release comparison like a weight I was never meant to carry. The path you have laid before me is unique, intentional, and blessed. I do not need to look to the left or the right. I only need to look up. Help me to be content not because life is easy, but because you are with me in all of it. That kind of contentment cannot be shaken. Give me discernment today, not just to know right from wrong, but to know what is right for this moment, what is necessary, what is timely. Help me to say no when I need to preserve my peace, and to say yes when love requires my presence. Let me walk in wisdom, not worry. Let me trust in the clarity that comes from communion with you. Make my thoughts quiet enough to hear your whisper, and in those moments when I feel unseen or unimportant, whisper to me again that I matter not because of what I accomplish, but because I belong to you. Let that truth become my foundation. Let it silence the noise that tells me I have to prove myself. Let it become the reason I stand tall in the face of discouragement. I am yours, fully known and fully loved. That is my identity, my confidence, and my courage. God, if I encounter conflict today, let me respond with grace instead of pride. Let me speak with gentleness, not because I am weak, but because I have tasted your mercy. Let me forgive quickly, even when it costs me. Let me choose to release bitterness before it can take root. Make me someone who brings healing, not more hurt. Someone who reflects light, not shadows. This day is not about me proving my worth. It is about me living from the worth you have already given me. So let my actions be rooted in gratitude, not guilt. Let my service be joyful, not forced. Let my love be genuine, not driven by fear of rejection. Let everything I do flow from a heart that is anchored in grace, overflowing with compassion and free from striving. Let me see interruptions as invitations to draw closer to you. Let every inconvenience be a chance to practice patience. Let every delay be an opportunity to deepen trust. You are never in a hurry. And still, you are never late. Let me follow your lead. Let me mirror your unhurried love in how I treat others. Let my life move at the speed of grace. And when the day begins to wind down, let me look back not with regret, but with gratitude, not measuring how much I got done, but remembering how often I turned to you. Let the moments I chose peace over panic, trust over worry, stillness over striving be enough. Let them be the sacred stones I carry into tomorrow, reminders that I am not building a life alone. Lord, this morning I rose with the hope that you would meet me here, and you did not with thunder or lightning, but with the gentle presence that wraps around my heart like a warm cloak. You are not just the God of the mountaintop moments. You are the God of the in-between, of the slow mornings, the silent prayers, the uncelebrated faithfulness. That is where you dwell, and that is where I want to dwell too. Let my day be shaped not by reaction, but by response intentional. Steady, centered in you. Let your spirit govern my moods, guide my tone, and soften my heart in every interaction. And when I feel pulled in many directions, draw me back to stillness. Draw me back to the place where your peace exceeds all understanding and steadies every trembling thought. And in that place, I will remain, even as I walk through the day. Lord, as I continue this walk in the calm of your presence, I carry forward the stillness you planted within me, from the quiet confidence you cultivated in my soul yesterday. I now ask for a deeper surrender today, a release of even the smallest corners of my will into your capable hands. You have led me gently so far, not with force, but with unwavering compassion. So now, I long to yield even more completely to the movement of your spirit, to walk not in assumption, but in alignment with what you see, know, and desire. You do not simply chart out the road ahead. You walk with me in it. You are not a distant voice calling from a mountaintop, but the breath beside me in every decision, every pause, every crossroad. Help me today to lean not on my own understanding, no matter how logical it seems. Let discernment rise not from analysis alone, but from a heart tuned to the rhythms of your voice. Your ways are higher, and I do not want to settle for what is familiar when you are offering something eternal. So often I pray for doors to open, for opportunities to align, for circumstances to shift in my favor. But today, Lord, I pray instead for clarity to recognize which doors are yours. Not every open path is meant to be taken. Not every opportunity is a calling. Teach me how to pause long enough to ask, long enough to listen. Let wisdom be the light that filters through my desires, illuminating what is truly good and lasting over what is urgent and appealing. When the world pushes me to rush, to chase, to grasp, let me move instead with holy intention. Let me speak because you have filled my mouth, not because I am trying to fill silence. Let me go forward not because I am avoiding discomfort, but because you are leading the way. If you tell me to stay, I will stay. If you tell me to wait, I will wait. I will trust that every delay holds more blessing than any premature success could ever offer. God, I release my need for control. It has only ever left me wary. It has never carried me the way your peace has. I cannot shape outcomes with perfection, but I can shape my response with surrender. And when I do, I find that freedom meets me there, not the kind of freedom that does whatever it wants, but the kind that does what is right with deep joy. Guide me to make choices today that reflect the trust I have in you, not the fear I have of failing. Let me not fear failure, Lord, for even in my stumbles, you are faithful. You redeem what I cannot repair. You restore what I thought was lost. You bring beauty out of what I would have discarded. Teach me to stop measuring myself by the smoothness of the road and start measuring by the nearness of your presence. Whether the terrain today is easy or steep, I want to walk it with eyes fixed on you. Hands open. Heart willing. When I feel pressure to prove myself, remind me that you never asked me to perform. You called me to abide. When I feel the urge to be seen, remind me that I am already fully known. When I strive for validation, whisper again that your affirmation is enough. Root my identity not in the applause of others, but in the quiet assurance that I belong to you. There is nothing more secure than that truth. And when I face decisions that seem too heavy, too unclear, let me return to the last thing you told me with peace. Often the answer I seek is hidden in the step I have been hesitating to take. Give me the courage to move forward, not perfectly, but faithfully. If I misstep, I trust you will redirect me. If I hesitate, I trust you will wait for me. You are not impatient with my process, and that alone gives me strength to keep trying. Sometimes the most faithful step is the smallest one. So let me not overlook the power of choosing love when it costs me. Let me not dismiss the strength of staying kind when I am tempted to be harsh. Let me honor the quiet ways you ask me to show up in the unnoticed sacrifices, the silent prayers, the consistent integrity when no one is watching. These are the bricks that build a life that pleases you. God, remind me today that obedience is not always dramatic. It is often found in the simple repetition of yes. Yes to the tasks that feel mundane. Yes to the person I would rather avoid. Yes to the truth when lies seem easier. Yes to waiting when I would rather act. And yes again when doubt tries to unravel my resolve. Each yes is a seed planted in trust. Each yes becomes a doorway to something deeper in you. Let not my feelings alone be the compass of my choices. They are real, but they are not always true. Let your word shape my view more than my fear does. Let your promises weigh heavier than my insecurities. Let your example lead me through the tension between come and calling. Teach me that sacrifice is not always loss, but often the gateway to something greater. Let me not protect comfort at the cost of growth. Lord, I know you do not lead me aimlessly. Every step is woven into a larger picture I cannot yet see. But I trust that you see it clearly. You are not experimenting with my life. You are designing it with love. So today, I release the outcome. I surrender the need to know how everything ends. I only need enough light for the next step, and I believe you will provide it. You always do. If I encounter resistance today, not from you but from the world, let me not assume I am on the wrong path. Sometimes resistance is a sign that I am walking against the current of what is easy, toward what is holy. Strengthen me to walk on, not in defiance, but in quiet conviction. I do not need to be loud to be strong. I only need to remain aligned with you. Keep my heart humble enough to be redirected. Keep my spirit soft enough to be shaped. Let me not harden under the weight of disappointment or pride. Let me remain teachable, correctable, transformable. That is the kind of vessel you can fill. That is the kind of soul you use, not perfect, but willing, not polished, but surrendered. I want to be that today. And even if I stumble, even if I question, even if I wrestle with doubt, remind me that your love does not waver. Your guidance does not flicker like a flame in the wind. You are steady. You are present. You are here. I am not walking toward you. I am walking with you. That truth changes everything. It reshapes fear into faith. It turns striving into surrender. It replaces confusion with quiet confidence. So let every step I take today be less about arriving somewhere and more about becoming someone. Someone who is shaped by love, anchored in trust, moved by compassion, and directed by peace. Let your spirit go before me, walk beside me, and whisper within me. And wherever I go today, may it be with you heart steady, hands open, feet aligned with the path of grace you have already prepared. God, in the quiet stream of trust that flowed from my surrender yesterday, I return again this morning with an open heart and a deep need for your presence to steady me as I keep walking in the direction you gently lead me. I realize how many parts of this journey remain uncertain. The path ahead is still covered in mist, but I no longer need to see every step. I only need to be assured that you are with me in every breath I take. There are pieces of my life I cannot hold together on my own. There are questions I cannot answer, timing I cannot control, and outcomes I cannot predict. But you, Lord, hold it all. Nothing escapes your gaze. Nothing in my story is random. Even the pauses and detours are written into a divine design that is shaping me, preparing me, and making me into something I cannot yet see. Help me remember that you are never idle, even in the waiting. When I face decisions today that feel unclear or heavy, show me how to trust you more than I trust the outcome. Let peace, not pressure, be the compass that guides my heart. Replace the urgency that clouds my thinking with the quiet assurance that you are already working ahead of me. You are not pacing the heavens in worry. You are seated in authority, fully aware of what I need before I even know how to ask. Give me grace to navigate what is beyond my understanding. Not everything will make sense right away, and that is okay. Teach me to be content with what you reveal in this moment, knowing that each day carries its own portion of light. Let me not rush past today searching for tomorrow. Let me find the treasure that is hidden in now, the lessons wrapped in difficulty, the growth buried inside discomfort, and the love that is always reaching for me. When fear rises with questions I cannot answer, when will this end? What if this fails? Why did that happen? Wrap me in the truth that you are the same yesterday, today, and forever. You are not shaken by my uncertainty. You are not intimidated by my fears. You sit with me in them, and in your presence, they lose their power. I do not need to have every answer if I have you. Teach me to stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios in my mind. Teach me to stop preparing for disaster and instead begin preparing for peace. Let faith become my first language, not doubt. Let hope be my response, not worry. I have wasted too many mornings bracing for what might go wrong, instead of expecting your goodness to show up. So today, I make space for you to surprise me with joy. I know that trusting you with the unknown is not weakness. It is the strongest thing I can do. It requires humility to admit I do not know, and it requires courage to keep walking forward anyway. Let my life today be marked by that kind of brave trust, the kind that keeps loving even love is not returned, the kind that keeps serving even when no one notices, the kind that keeps believing when evidence says to give up. You see further than I can. You understand the ripple effects of my smallest choices. You are weaving a masterpiece from threads I would be overlooked. What looks like a delay to me may be your divine protection. What looks like rejection may be redirection. What feels like the end may just be the beginning of something more beautiful than I imagined. So I will not rush to label things as loss or failure. I will wait and watch how you redeem what I surrender. Let today be a day where I practice stillness, not just the absence of noise, but the presence of deep-rooted trust. Let my stillness speak louder than frantic effort. Let my silence carry more strength than 1,000 explanations. When I feel the need to defend myself, let me remember that you are my defender. When I feel the urge to make things happen, remind me that your timing is never late. God, protect me from making decisions based on fear. Let love be my motivator. Let truth be my anchor. Let discernment arise not from anxious calculation, but from communion with you. If I am to act today, let it be because you have stirred me to move. If I am to wait, let me wait with grace. Whether I walk forward or remain still, let it all be saturated with the awareness that I am not alone. When I begin to compare my path with others, draw my eyes back to you. Their success is not my failure. Their pace is not my standard. You are writing a unique story with my life. It does not need to look like anyone else's. Set me free from the trap of comparison. It only breeds doubt. Teach me to celebrate others without questioning myself. Teach me to trust that my portion is enough, because it is from you. If I face disappointment today, let it not destroy my joy. Let it deepen my faith. Disappointment does not mean you have abandoned me. It is often a doorway to something deeper. Help me to sit with it, learn from it, and release it into your care. I do not want to carry what you have asked me to place down. Let my hands be empty enough to receive what you want to give. Let today be a day I walk in quiet confidence, not because I have all the answers, but because I know the one who does. Let my trust not be loud, not boastful, not dependent on signs and wonders, but anchored in the small, sacred act of choosing you again and again. Choosing to believe that you are with me, that you are good, and that nothing will separate me from your love. When I reach the end of this day, I do not want to measure its value by what I achieved or acquired. I want to measure it by how much I trusted, by how many times I returned to you in the middle of confusion, by how often I surrendered control, by how gently I treated others, even when I felt unsure myself. Let today be a testimony of trust, a chapter in my story that says, even when I did not know, I chose to believe. So walk with me into the unknown. Whisper peace when questions come. Hold me steady when doubts shout loud. Quiet my heart with your nearness. Remind me that nothing about today is uncertain to you. I am not lost. I am not forgotten. I am not without direction. I am following the one who sees it all and still chooses to walk beside me, step by sacred step. Father, as the morning continues to unfold and I walk forward in trust, I feel the gentle release of things I once held so tightly. It feels like the next step in the surrender you have been leading me into, letting go of what I cannot control. And though it may feel uncomfortable, there is something sacred in opening my hands and unclenching the grip that fear once taught me to hold. You are patient with me in this process, never rushing, never forcing, but always inviting me to loosen my hold and find peace in your sovereignty. There are many things in life that call for my attention, but are not mine to carry. There are outcomes I cannot guarantee, people I cannot change, and timelines I cannot enforce. When I try to micromanage what belongs to you, I end up wary and anxious. But when I remember that you have never asked me, to the author of everyone's journey, only a faithful part of mine, I begin to feel freedom rise like the sun over the horizon. It does not come with loud declarations, but with quiet assurance that you are in control even when I am not. Help me today to recognize the line between responsibility and control. Show me where I need to act with wisdom and where I need to step back in faith. Let me not confuse worry with preparation or anxiety with care. You are not honored by my constant striving, but you are pleased when I entrust to you the things beyond my reach. Give me courage to release those things without guilt and without fear of what might happen if I am not constantly holding everything together. Lord, I am learning that peace is not found in perfect circumstances, but in perfect trust. I want to stop rehearsing conversations that may never happen. I want to stop replaying moments that I can no longer change. I want to stop fixating on how others see me or what they expect of me. The more I dwell on what I cannot influence, the less energy I have to love well in the space you have given me. Teach me to guard my focus like a precious gift, directing it toward what matters most. There is a quiet strength in letting go. It is not passive. It is not weakness. It is a declaration that I believe in a God who sees what I do not, who acts when I cannot, who knows how to redeem what looks impossible to me. Let my act of release become an act of worship. Let it rise to you like incense, fragile, yet fragrant, a symbol of faith that says, even though I do not hold this anymore, I know the one who does. Today, as I encounter relationships that are strained or uncertain, help me to love without manipulating. Let me be kind without expectations. Let me speak truth without needing to be heard a certain way. Let my love be free of fear, my help be free of pride, my hope be free of agenda. The people around me are not problems to be solved, but souls to be loved. I am not responsible for their journey's end, but I am called to walk alongside them with compassion and grace. If I come across disappointment, remind me that it is not my job to rewrite the story in real time. I do not need to make sense of everything as it unfolds. I do not need to protect myself from every unknown. You will be with me in every moment, and you will carry me through what I cannot carry on my own. I will not my heart be troubled by what others choose or what changes around me. I will fix my eyes on what remains, unchanging your character, your promises, and your love. When I feel the pull to control outcomes, help me return to your presence instead. Let me sit in silence and feel the weight of your peace pressing gently against my restless spirit. Let me breathe deeply and remember that I am safe, not because I am in charge, but because I am held. Your hands are big enough to carry what my arms can no longer lift. And your timing is wise enough to trust even when it does not match my own. So often, I pray for peace and then continue to fight for control. But real peace only comes when I stop demanding that life meet my expectations. Instead, I want to release my need to know how it all turns out. I want to stop scripting the future and start embracing the present. I want to stop trying to be the solution and simply become available to be used by you. Let me trust that you are enough, not just for today, but for every unseen day ahead. When I feel overwhelmed by the weight of things I cannot fix, lead me to gratitude. Gratitude shifts my eyes from what is missing to what is already here. It reminds me that every moment contains a gift, every breath a reason to give thanks. Help me count what is good instead of what is wrong. Help me see the evidence of your grace instead of the evidence of my lack. The more I look for you, the more I will find you even in the smallest places. Lord, teach me to rest even in motion. I do not want to confuse business with purpose. I want to live from a place of groundedness, where every word I speak and step I take flows from the deep well of trust within me. Let my presence be a calm in someone's storm, not a contributor to their chaos. Let my words be gentle and seasoned with hope. Let my actions reflect faith, not fear. And when it comes time to face challenges today, whether great or small, remind me that I do not face them alone. You are with me in every conversation, every task, every unknown. You have already gone ahead of me to prepare the way, and you will be my rear guard when I do not know what comes next. Let that knowledge settle in my soul like soft rain, quieting every anxious thought and bringing new life to places that have felt dry. You are the gardener of my soul. You know when to prune and when to plant. You know what needs to be pulled away and what needs to be protected. So I release my grip and ask you to tend to what I have tried to manage alone. Cultivate patience in me. Plant seeds of trust that will grow into unshakable confidence in you. And when the winds come, let me bend but not break, because my roots are in something deeper than circumstance. So today, I walk forward with open hands. I do not need to control the narrative. I only need to be faithful in what you have placed in front of me. Whether it is a task, a conversation, or a quiet pause, let me be fully present. Let me listen well. Let me respond with kindness. Let me serve without needing recognition. and let me rest in the truth that I am loved, guided, and never abandoned. Let this day be a living reminder that surrender is not giving up. It is growing up. It is choosing to trust the one who sees the whole picture when I only see one piece. It is believing that what I let go of today will not be lost, but held in hands far more capable than mine. Lord, as I come to this quiet place once more, my heart carries the echoes of every prayer that has come before. I feel the weight of your presence, not as a burden, but as a gentle covering, a reminder that I have never walked alone. From the very first whispered word of surrender until this breath I take now, you have been here, constant and unshaken. And in this stillness, I find myself overwhelmed not by fear or pressure, but by a peace that passes understanding. It rests over me like morning mist, soft and pure, touching every place that was once anxious with calm. The journey has not been straight or simple, but in every twist, you have met me. In every valley, you brought light enough to take the next step. In the shadows, you held my hand. In the quiet victories, you celebrated with me. And in the silence, you listened. There were days I questioned, moments I resisted, seasons I felt lost, but you never left. You are not just the God of the mountaintop, but the faithful friend in the in-between. And now, as I sit here with the gentle rhythm of the morning around me, I realize that the beauty was never in reaching a final destination, but in learning to walk beside you, day by day. So much of what I once thought I needed has faded into something deeper, something eternal. I no longer crave answers as much as I crave your nearness. I no longer chase certainty as much as I long for clarity of soul. And in this moment, I do not come with another list of requests. I come to thank you for how you have changed me through every quiet word and every holy pause. These prayers have been more than conversation. They have been communion. They have reminded me who I am and whose I am. You have taught me that the sacred is often found in the ordinary, in a sunrise filtered through the trees, in the hush of early morning footsteps, in the way breath slows when I remember to be still. I used to think I had to do more, strive harder, prove something. But you keep bringing me back to simplicity, to the truth that I am loved right here, right now, without needing to perform. This kind of love is transformative. It frees, it heals, and it stays, even when I am unsure. Father, I do not know what the rest of this day will hold. I do not know what will unfold in the days to come, but I do know that this space I have carved out with you is not just for this moment. It is a foundation I can return to. The truths spoken in these quiet mornings have become a wellspring inside me. And when the noise of life grows loud, I will come back here not to escape, but to remember who you are. To remember who I am in you, to remember that even when everything feels uncertain, you remain. You have become the whisper behind my courage, the peace beneath my decisions, the grace that follows every step. You have steadied me when I wanted to run. You have comforted me when I wept in silence. You have lifted my eyes when all I could see was the dust at my feet. And now, even as I move into the hours ahead, I do so differently than before. I carry not just hope, but presence. I carry not just dreams, but direction. I carry not just ambition, but alignment with you. Let this final breath of morning prayer not be an end, but a beginning. Let it awaken something lasting in me, a tenderness toward the world, a hunger for truth, a willingness to listen. Let me speak less from fear and more from love. Let me react less and respond more. Let me not rush past moments that could become holy if only I pause long enough to see. And let me never forget that the light that led me here will go with me wherever I walk. If I ever feel myself drifting, help me find my way back not through shame, but through remembrance. Let every sunrise remind me of mercy. Let every breath remind me of your gift. Let every quiet longing be a doorway into deeper connection with you. And let me never underestimate the power of a small, faithful beginning. For it was in the early hours, the whispered prayers, the slow building of trust that transformation took root. Thank you for every heart that has joined me on this journey, for every soul that sat in the stillness, hoping for light, for every voice that whispered its own prayer between the words. We have shared something sacred, not because of eloquence, but because of authenticity. And if someone finds themselves listening with tears in their eyes or questions on their tongue, let them know they are not alone. Let them know they are seen. Let them know that these words are not just mine, they are ours, because every heart that reaches for God finds a thread that ties us together, quietly and unbreakably. To those who have traveled with me, I thank you. Your presence has been a blessing beyond measure. These shared moments are a reminder that even in a world that often feels fractured, unity can be found in the spirit that draws us close. May you carry what you have received into every corner of your day. May your heart be softened to the whispers of grace. May your steps be ordered with intention, and your soul anchored in truth. I invite you, dear listener, to share what stirred within you, whether it was a line, a feeling, a truth long buried. Let it rise. Speak it. Write it. Let it become part of your journey. And if you feel led, offer your own prayer below, not because it must be perfect, but because it is yours. And in the offering, we open ourselves once more to connection, not just with each other, but with the one who hears even the quietest cries. If these words have touched your heart, I welcome you to stay connected. Subscribe to this space not just for more prayers, but for daily reminders that faith is not a one-time event. It is a rhythm, a breath, a returning. And if this prayer has brought peace to your spirit, consider sharing it with someone who needs a soft place to land. Let us be bearers of hope, not just keepers of it. Let us pass the light, not hoard it, because in the end, that is what this journey has taught me most, that the light we receive is meant to shine, not in grand gestures, but in steady presence, not in perfect words, but in honest living. And as this final chapter closes, I see it not as a goodbye, but as a gentle opening to the day ahead, one where hearts remain tender, where faith remains firm, and where the light of this morning lingers just a little longer. Outside, The world is waking. The sky is brushed with soft gold. A breeze stirs through the trees, carrying with it the promise of new mercies. And the first rays of sunlight stretch across the earth, not in haste, but in grace. Just like your love, just like this moment. Just like the beginning of something holy.